for the 10th annual Futures Game. Hello, everyone, and welcome as the world team and the U.S. team prepare. My name is Vinny Micucci. I'm alongside Jonathan Mayo. Jonathan, we have ourselves that time of year where we get a great opportunity to see some of the best in the world, those who are right on the cusp of making the major leagues, all in one stadium, all preparing for the All-Star game itself, getting ready to play on one field.
Absolutely. You know, the game is only 10 years old, Vinny, but the numbers show what a great game this has become. So many players go from this event onto the big leagues, and I can't think of a better stage than the last year of Yankee Stadium to dangle an even more special carrot in front of these minor leaguers.
No, you're absolutely right. When you're talking about a game in which 23 of the current All-Stars for the American and National League have at some point played in the Futures Game, and you have two at this point who have played in Evan Longoria and Giovanni Soto, who were in last year's Futures Game. So if you think you're going to get an opportunity to see the players out in this field that are going to be part of next year or the years beyond in Major League Baseball, you're probably right.
And I think that's been the biggest surprise maybe of this game is how quickly that's happened, you know, and obviously the guys at the higher levels are going to get there faster, but the speed with which some of these guys have gone from Futures Gamers to Major League All-Stars is really kind of almost alarming, and it shows you how the learning curve has really been shortened for minor leaguers in general during their trip up the minor league system into the big leagues.
Absolutely. So you're really starting to see a lot of the scouts and players and everybody in general front office is starting to keep a notice of this and say these guys will be there a lot quicker than we've noticed even in the past.
Absolutely. And you have scouts from all 30 organizations here. You know, it's only one game, it's an exhibition, but how a guy responds to a full house Yankee Stadium,
yep,
national TV, all those things can tell you a lot how they're going to deal with that spotlight, which always seems to be burning very brightly at the big league stage.
All right, well, Jonathan, as each of us have mentioned, this is the 10th anniversary of the Futures Game here in New York. It began back in 1999 in Boston, and for more, Noah Kozlov takes a look back at the 10th anniversary of the Futures Game.
In the 1985 motion picture Back to the Future, Marty McFly asked, "What happens to us in the future?" If you ask that question to members of the 10th annual All-Star Futures Game, they'd likely respond with, "We become Major League Baseball players." Fenway Park hosted the inaugural Futures Game in 1999, but it was a Yankees shortstop prospect who dominated on Yawkey Way. Alfonso Soriano hit 2 home runs and drove in 5 as the world team shut out the U.S. squad 7-0. Those teams featured names like Berkman, Burrell, and Burnett, along with current Dodger teammates Penny and Furcal. The U.S. evened the score the following year as Sean Burroughs carried his 2 Little League World Series titles to Turner Field, taking home the MVP in a 3-2 win. CC Sabathia struck out the side in the 3rd inning, while Brewers teammate Ben Sheets went from the Futures Game to the Olympics, pitching the U.S. to a gold medal victory over Cuba. 2008 All-Star Josh Hamilton delivered a clutch single in the 8th to back winning pitcher Mark Burley. The Phillies' future was well represented at Safeco Field in 2001 as Chase Utley went 2 for 3 with a solo home run and Brett Myers pitched 2 scoreless innings as the United States rolled to a 5-1 victory. Adam Dunn belted a long ball in the 3rd inning before being called up to the bigs where he went on to smack 19 home runs in 66 games for the Reds. The World Team bounced back in 2002 and provided the baseball world a glimpse into the future. MVP Jose Reyes had 3 RBIs and Miguel Cabrera went 2 for 2, winning the game 5-1. Reyes hammered a bases-loaded triple off All-Star Aaron Cook and later scored on an RBI single by Victor Martinez. Justin Morneau drove in Martinez, putting the game out of reach early. Looking to make it 2 in a row in 2003, the World Team put Rich Harden on the mound, but the U.S. countered with MVP Grady Sizemore at the plate. The Cubs right-hander combined with Chim Ming Wang, Irvin Santana, and others to toss 19 strikeouts as the teams managed just 11 hits in the game. Minute Maid Park hosted the 2004 affair, and a last-minute replacement proved to be the difference. Aaron Hill's 2-run double in the 5th followed one by Connor Jackson and led to the 4-3 victory for the United States. The World Team rebounded in 2005 with a 4-0 shutout behind starter Francisco Liriano, Fausto Carmona, and winning pitcher Edison Volquez. MVP Justin Huber provided the necessary offense with a 2-run double in the 5th off Paul Mahalem. The game was played at Comerica Park in Detroit, where U.S. pitchers Justin Verlander and Joel Zamaya were able to showcase their development in the Tigers farm system. In 2006, the U.S. sent players like Braun, Maben, and Tulo to PNC Park, but it was a pair of Royals prospects who sparked the 8-5 win. MVP Billy Butler and Alex Gordon combined to go 4 for 6 with a home run and 4 RBIs. Last year's U.S. squad in San Francisco was stacked with this season's household names, a pitching staff of Clay and Jabba, Kershaw, Hoshaver, and Mulvey, a lineup of Ellsbury, Upton, Longoria, and Bruce. But the names failed to produce numbers as MVP Chin Lung Hu and Vladimir Valentin drove in 2 runs apiece en route to a 7-2 World Team win. Heading into the 10th annual All-Star Futures game, the U.S. leads the series 5-4, but this year's game won't be like the previous 9. The United States team will be drawn from a pool of players selected by USA Baseball for this summer's Olympics in Beijing, and the game will last 9 innings in regulation rather than 7. But despite the rule changes, one thing remains the same. The future All-Stars of Major League Baseball will be treated as such, and the dream of playing in the big leagues has never seemed so much like a reality.
All right, thank you so much, Noah Kozlov. And Jonathan, as he mentioned, of course, the world gets a 7-2 victory in 2007 in San Francisco. So they're now just 1 game shy in the overall series, 5 games to 4. Chin Lung Hu comes away with the Larry Doby MVP honors. But again, a bunch of great names that we saw in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about Evan Longoria already at the top of this show. Justin Upton hit a long home run in that game. And in that swing, I remember thinking, all right, he's ready for the big league. So there were whispers he was going to come up soon, and he just looked like a big leaguer on that swing. And Jabba Chamberlain, Clay Buchholz, all the guys Noah mentioned. It's crazy to think that not only these guys gone up to the big leagues, but they're major contributors or they're all-stars already, and big reasons why a lot of those teams are competing for playoff spots right now.
All right, well, the U.S. team this year will be managed by Davey Johnson, and we now throw things down to our own Lisa Winston, who's standing by with Davey.
Hey, I'm here with Davey Johnson, the manager for Team USA here at the Futures game, but also for Team USA that's going to be heading next month to Beijing for the 2008 Summer Olympics. And Davey, can you explain to us a little bit how this team here and the team you're taking to Beijing, the association there?
Well, a lot of these guys are on our 60-man list. We get approval of 60 guys in the minor leagues that get approved for going to Beijing. And I'd say over half of this ball club will probably be on my Olympic team, maybe more.
How hard was it then to make the selection of guys that should be here in this Futures game, but also would be in consideration for the Olympic team?
Well, you know, I mean, talent, you know, is easy to spot, and there's a lot of talent here. And so, you know, I'm very interested in just not only how they catch the ball and how they throw it, how they feel the ball, but how they just handle themselves. International play now is very much improved. Teams we'll be playing are going to be, we won't be the number 1 seed. We might be the number 3 seed. So we have our work cut out for us.
With all this in mind, how will you be managing today versus how you might normally manage a game?
Well, I'll manage today like an all-star game. Everybody's going to play. The starting pitchers, we have 9. Everyone will go an inning. And then the guys that don't start will come in. One catcher will come in and catch 3 innings. Another catcher come in. I have 3 catchers. So. And then 4 other subs, and I'll get them in about halfway through the game. So everybody's going to play.
Now, the pitcher who earned the nod for you, Clayton Richard of the Chicago White Sox organization. Can you tell us a little bit about him and what to look for?
Well, he's just a quality pitcher. He's had a rapid rise through the minor league system, and he throws strikes. He has a variety of pitches. Big guy, but he's not overpowering, but he knows how to pitch.
Now, here we are in the 10th Futures game in Yankee Stadium. I think you've had a little bit of experience here in New York in Yankee Stadium. Can you talk a little bit about what it means to be here for this game and maybe some of your memories of the place?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, I hate to, this kind of dates me a little bit, but about 48 years ago when I was 16, I came to New York City wearing USA across my chest. I was a member of the United States newspaper, Hearst newspaper all-star team, and we played the Yankee all-star, City All-Stars. And here I am 50 years later and I'm wearing USA and I'm managing a group of young guys, so deja vu.
And then one last question, back to your job as manager. Are you going to be doing a little scouting of the opposing team as well?
Well, you told me there's only 2 guys on the Olympic team, so I'll keep a keen eye out for them, see if I can find a way to pitch to them.
Great. Thank you so much, Davey. Thank you. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Lisa, there with Davey Johnson. Jonathan, as you heard Davey say, he's going to manage this very much like any other All-Star game, get everybody an opportunity, especially because for the U.S. this year, it's an opportunity to see these guys not just in this game, but with the added caveat of the Olympics.
Yeah, I get the feeling that they've more or less made up their mind who from this squad is going to go to Beijing. Obviously, they'll keep an eye on how things go to maybe make a final determination on a spot or 2, but that's why he's not going to key in on a guy, make sure a guy gets 3 or 4 at-bats because they haven't scouted him enough. You know, they've got Bob Watson involved, they've got Ed Lynch involved, you know, they've been through this before, so they know the players and what they bring to the table. Davey maybe hasn't seen all of them. What it'll help him with is once they get to the Olympics, having seen them play firsthand. Here, maybe he has a little better idea of who can move a runner along, who runs well, who's got the good throwing arm from the outfield, that sort of thing.
All right, well, as we now know, Davey Johnson is the skipper of the U.S. team in this Futures game and beyond. But now it's time to take a look at some of the other roster parts of the Team USA, and we'll get to the World in just a moment as well. We start with the coaches. I apologize. We'll actually start with the look here at the U.S. team as a whole, where you have 5 former first-round picks as a part of this entire team, and then 1 returning player is Brian Anderson, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But there's the breakdown right now that we'll see for the U.S. team.
Yeah, no big surprise that the most players come from AA. That's usually the real prospect league. So 14 guys from there, 5 first-rounders, breaking down the last couple years, Vinny. Not a real shocker that you have those high-round picks here today. All
right, so there you go. There's a roster breakdown for the team for U.S. And now, of course, Davey Johnson is the skipper. So now we'll take a look at the coaches as well. And you see in the list there, Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach, all the way down to Dick Cook, will be the auxiliary coach there. A nice little collection of coaches to have for the U.S. squad as well.
And it's been the same group for the last couple of years. Normally for a Futures game, the way they do it, the coaching staff is sort of guys taken from different minor league systems and that sort of thing. This is the coaching staff that Team USA has used. Davey Johnson and Marcel Latchman have worked together for the last couple of years and on down with Eckstein and Cook. These guys have gone through it before. They were in Taiwan last year, so they know what international competition is all about.
All right, so they'll be able to get a good look at this team. They've been putting this team together for quite some time. A whole host of help has been put together to put together the U.S. squad. We'll start with the pitching staff for Team USA. And here's a good collection of talent as well, Jonathan. And when you look at some of the names there, Jake Arrieta is one name that you could possibly focus on as well, too, in addition to Ryan Matthews and Casey Weathers, the closer out of Colorado.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's one of those first-round picks that we talked about. And Casey Weathers, fast riser all the way up in AA. Clayton Richard is getting the start today for Team USA. Big left-hander and good shot to make the Olympic team. Trevor Cahill is a guy who has been promoted already, and a lot of these guys, as has Brett Anderson, moved up from A-ball to AA. So these are all guys that you should see in the big leagues in short order. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's less. Obviously going to Beijing may slow that down for them a little bit, but all of these guys have very bright futures.
All right, and in terms of the pitching, you might want to start things off by looking at Will Inman. Here's one guy in particular that the U.S. team will be looking at for what his type of pitching velocity is. He has several different pitches that he brings to the table, and he'll be a guy we'll keep an eye on today.
Oh, and I love Will Inman because he's the kind of guy, he's got a major chip on his shoulder because he's not the biggest guy in the world. Right-handers who are undersized always have a stigma that they're not going to hold up. He was traded by the Brewers to San Diego last year and was okay and has been tremendous this year for San Antonio in the AA Texas League for the Padres organization. And this is a guy who just loves proving people wrong, and just being here today, I think, is another notch in his belt for that.
All right, so a focus will be on Will Inman, but who will he be throwing to? Also take a look at some of the U.S. catchers in addition as well. This team put together has been a bunch of collective talent. I think the catcher spot is another spot where we could focus on where guys are pretty talented too. Brian Anderson was the name we brought up from last year.
Yeah, absolutely, and he has Team USA experience. He went to Taiwan in the World Cup a year ago. And he is a guy who has always hit well. The defense is coming. Doesn't hit for a lot of power, but kind of an unsung prospect because he's extremely young for his level and has sort of been backlogged a little bit in the Cardinals organization. Lou Marson from the Phillies is now really their catcher of the future, and they're very excited to get him up to Philadelphia when he's ready. And Taylor Teagarden has made a kind of remarkable comeback. He had Tommy John surgery shortly after he was drafted, and this is a guy who has come all the way back to being an everyday catcher again and is knocking on the door in a Ranger system that now suddenly chock full of prospects.
All right, moving right along with the U.S. roster, so much attention is brought about for that U.S. outfield that sometimes you overlook just what the U.S. infield can do as well, too, Jonathan.
Yeah, and there's some pretty good talent there. Matt Gamble is challenging for a Triple Crown in the Southern League, and he's a reason maybe why the Brewers could trade Matt Laporta away because they had another impact bat, a few of them. Chris Valaika is a Team USA veteran. A lot of guys to like on this team. Jamie D'Antona was a replacement, but he can play about 3 or 4 different positions, and he's hitting about 370 in the Pacific Coast League.
Absolutely. So the infield just as talented as well, too. One of the names you saw in there was Wes Hodges. Now, as far as the entire infield is concerned, there's a ton of talent, but Wes Hodges is another name that we'll be focusing on, and our own Lisa Winston had a chance to talk a little bit more about the talented Wes Hodges.
If you do an informal poll of upper-level minor league hitters, most will tell you that the biggest challenge they faced in the move up the ladder was the jump from A-ball to AA. But that hasn't seemed to be a problem thus far for Cleveland Indians third base prospect Wes Hodges, who's off to a strong start at Akron in his second pro season.
It's been a little different just because it's just a cleaner game just in general. You know, defensively guys are better, you know, pitching guys are better, and, you know, just everybody's a little bit smarter. So it's been a little different as far as just getting used to, you know, that, and guys just aren't going to, you know, groove one into you. You know, they're going to make it work a little bit.
It probably hasn't hurt Hodges that making the move from Kinston to Akron with him has been manager Mike Sarbaugh, who has not only been Hodges' skipper both seasons, but also a former minor league infielder who's worked closely with him on his defense.
It's great. You know, he definitely helps me a lot in my defense, and definitely made the transition to AA a little bit better. You know, having a familiar face around, and you know, he definitely helps with my defense, and you know, and is also, I know what he expects of me, and kind of how he goes about things, and so it made the transition a little easier.
For his part, Sarbaugh has also been more than a little impressed with what he's seen from his protege so far.
Just the way he goes about his daily work. He comes to play every day, you know, really goes about it the right way, is on a mission daily, and you can see it's translating into the game.
The biggest obstacle Hodges has had to overcome dating back to his high school days has been a slew of injuries, most of which he's gutted through, but they've also cost him some time on the field. He's worked hard this past offseason to hopefully avoid that pitfall in 2008.
Really cleaned up my diet, I guess. I read a nutrition book, and you know, educated myself a little bit on that, and just been eating better, and actually I lost 10 pounds. I feel a little quicker, a little lighter on my feet, so I think it's definitely helped, and I think it'll definitely help, especially when August, you know, rolls around. So that's been the biggest thing. I mean, I can already tell a difference as far as my first 2 steps go.
With just 104 pro games behind him coming into 2008, Hodges has still done a lot to turn heads and open eyes in the Indians organization as he continues to work towards that big league dream.
Being consistent, you know, just stay in the middle of the field with his approach, because he's got power to all fields, and then defensively just going out there and making the routine play, and just being real consistent with the glove.
Thank you so much, Lisa, there, taking a look at Wes Hodges and his abilities over with the Akron Arrows. And you know what? Time to switch things over now to that U.S. outfield. We'll take a look at the position players in the outfield for Team USA, and this is a real talented bunch. I could bring up a whole host of names here, anything from Nate Schierholtz over to Andrew McCutchen. Every one of the guys mentioned in this outfield, Jonathan, have a lot of talent.
When Nate Schierholtz is like the last guy on the depth chart, you're in good shape. Matt Laporta probably will play a little first base as well for Team USA, especially if he goes on to Beijing. Now a teammate of Wes Hodges, and obviously been in the news a lot with the big CC Sabathia trade.
All right, absolutely. That U.S. outfield is a real talented outfield, mentioned not just because of the names that you mentioned there as well, too, but this is where a lot of the power is going to come from on the team. These are probably the guys that are most closely on their way up to the big leagues as well, too. I think even during spring training, there was a chance that we could have seen some of these guys fighting for a roster position, and of course, we've heard a lot of Laporta lately, as you just mentioned, because of the trade.
Yeah, and a lot of speed, a lot of five-tool guys in this outfield with McCutchen, Golson, and of course a guy like Dexter Fowler.
All right, well, Dexter Fowler out of that Rockies organization, yet another talented outfielder on that U.S. roster. He's standing by with our own Lisa Winston.
I'm with Dexter Fowler of the Colorado Rockies and the starting center fielder for the U.S. Futures team. And Dexter, what was your reaction when you found out that you had been named to this team?
I was ecstatic, you know. Last year at Yankee Stadium, just coming out, you know, just want to go out and have fun, you know, and being a chance to play for the Olympic team is definitely an honor.
Did you know right away that the Futures team was also part of the short list for the Olympics?
I was actually told that after I found out that I was part of the Futures game. So, I mean, it's definitely an honor to represent your team in the Olympics.
Have you ever played on one of the U.S. national teams before this?
I have not. So this was definitely my first time.
Did anybody who had been here before you give you any kind of advice, what to look for, what to expect, what to get excited about?
I mean, I talked to a few guys. Everybody just said come out and have fun, and that's about it. So.
Have you ever been to Yankee Stadium before?
I have not. First time. Last time I was here, I played in Cooperstown. So that was an honor, and came down here and actually getting a chance to soak it up right now. So.
Now I saw you before with your digital camera, kind of taking the pictures of all the pictures outside the clubhouse and all. Have you gotten any kind of a tour or anything to kind of soak in the New Yorkness yet?
Not really. You know, getting off the bus and coming through the tunnel, everybody was like silent. You know, everybody was just trying to soak in the moment. So. but it's definitely fun to be here.
How many of your teammates here did you know before you got here, other than obviously Casey Weathers, who you're with at Tulsa?
I knew quite a few of them, playing against them, you know, every day and different showcases and growing up. So.
Now, I mean, a lot of people who are watching this game and following it, they're excited to see prospects they've been hearing about and reading about, and prospects such as yourself. For you, is there anyone here that you're really looking forward to finally seeing for the first time?
Everybody, I would have to say. I mean, you hear about people every day, you know, MLB.com, you know, Baseball America, and you definitely want to see how, if all the hypes, if they live up to all the hype, so.
One last quick question. You're going to be journaling about this for MILB.com, right?
I will. Y'all hear all about it, so tune in.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Lisa, there with Dexter Fowler. And you could see the excitement on his face, and you can hear it coming out of his voice the entire time. It just seems like one of those guys right away that you want to root for.
Well, you'd have to almost be comatose not to feel something coming to Yankee Stadium. But, yeah, he just, you know, there's certain guys you talk to, they just get it. And he's one of these guys who just loves playing baseball. Was considered sort of a tough sign. The Rockies got him signed. He had a scholarship to college to play baseball. Some people wanted him to play basketball. Real smart kid. And, you know, one of these guys with tremendous potential. And this year is really when the potential started turning into performance. He's hitting about 330. The power starting to come. The speed has always been there. Just watch him play the center field in Yankee Stadium today. He'll look like he belongs right away. Yeah, and also the opportunity to see a lot of players. As he mentioned, this is his first trip to Yankee Stadium. You're seeing some players, 20, 21 years old, who are walking around real wide-eyed today as to what is going on in this Futures game. As Lisa alluded to, a lot of digital cameras snapping. You're going to see a lot of video cameras. You know, they understand that this is Yankee Stadium, and it's the last year of Yankee Stadium to boot, and usually the Futures game is a great opportunity just to be on the big league stage. You ratchet it up a few notches just because of all the history and what's going on with the new stadium right across the street here. All right, well, Jonathan, down the road in the future, Dexter Fowler will have some great things to say about his Futures game experience here at Yankee Stadium, but our own Noah Kozlov takes a look back at some past Futures games and some of the players who experienced that very game.
On Sunday, July 13th, the future of Major League Baseball will be on display at Yankee Stadium for the 10th annual All-Star Futures Game. There are no guarantees in any sport, but when looking at the numbers, it's hard not to picture yourself on the big league stage after putting on this uniform. 22 All-Stars from 2007 are alumni of the Futures Game, and players like Bruce, Buchholz, Ellsbury, Jabba, Longoria, Soto, and Upton were a part of the 27 names on last year's roster that have big league stats in 2008. It's an experience that drives the biggest names in the game to make their dreams of the future a present reality.
Getting a chance to experience, you know, an all-star game, a home run derby, getting a chance to, you know, kind of rub elbows with, you know, a few of the big league all-stars and pick their brains. So as a young kid trying to come up and make it to the big league level, getting a chance to talk to those guys and participate in that weekend, I think really helped my development.
I think one of the biggest things for me is playing with some of the guys I play against today. You know, like we just finished up against the Braves. I think they had Escobar on that team, and during the game he said, "Hey man, you remember me from the Futures game?" I said, "Oh yeah," because you know I like the way he plays the game, and I like to see a lot of young guys, you know, go out and showcase talent, and even when you know make it to the major leagues. It's fun to play against those guys.
I was in Seattle at the time, and I was young. I was still in A-ball, but I had a chance to meet a lot of guys that you read about throughout the minor leagues. Obviously, there was some pretty good talent. Overall, I had a good time.
That was my first time ever in a major league park, and it was an honor. Now I play there all the time. We in the same division as Milwaukee, so and I love hitting there. That's one thing too.
Futures games were nice. You know, it was the closest thing to major leagues we had gotten to at the time, being around all the guys and just getting a glimpse of the big leagues.
I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, I really enjoy it to be able to be in the ball club when a lot of organizations expecting to us, you know, to be the future star.
I was over both of my Futures games, but you know, I got to be in a big league ballpark. Played under my first retractable dome, and I just had a lot of fun.
You know, first of all, just be selected to that team was an honor, and getting to go to it in Detroit, which was hopefully where I was going to try to make it, was pretty unique and special for me. It was a great experience. I got to meet a lot of guys that you see up here now, and you know, it kind of gives us something to talk about and go say hi.
Surprised me how they treat the big league stadium. You know, when you play minor league and come to the big league stadium, it's a big difference. And that's why after that I decided I started to play hard, working hard, because I want to be here in big league too.
I guess, what it says about you as a player. I mean, there's probably 15 guys from those futures team that are in the big leagues now. It was exciting. It was a good thing to be a part of.
Even down to the very last name you saw just there with Evan Longoria, the biggest thing that I'm taking out of this entire look back is how many great names were a part of the Futures game that are now a part of the major leagues and a part of this upcoming All-Star game on Tuesday as well, too. It just continues with every Futures game that we look back on.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. You think back to 1999, and Alfonso Soriano put it on the map with those 2 home runs and then went on to the Yankees soon thereafter. The sheer volumes of players to make it to the big leagues, and I think it's 78% go from the Futures game, something like that, up to the big leagues at some point. It just is crazy. So the players you're going to see today, Vinny, out on the Yankee Stadium field will be on big league rosters in short order.
All right, well, take a look now at the world team of those who might be on the cusp. Here's a breakdown of where each of the world players are from. Primarily, the Dominican Republic and Venezuela are where most of the roster is from, with a scattering of players from various other countries as well, too.
Yeah, and you try to get a pretty good representation from as many countries as possible. And obviously, if you're going to put together a world team of the best prospects, Venezuela and the Dominican are really the places you're going to call a lot of the talent from. So that happens every year, and you've got a good representation of some flags that people probably won't be used to, like New Zealand and Australia.
All right, the world skipper is someone that many players on this team are probably familiar with from his playing days from this very stadium here in New York City. We throw things down to the sideline. Lisa Winston standing by with Tino Martinez.
I am here with Tino Martinez, manager of the World Futures team and former New York Yankees legend in his own right. And Tino, with your counterpart, Davey Johnson, we knew he was going to be the manager because of the Team USA Olympic tie-in. When did you find out you'd gotten this honor, and what was your reaction?
Well, I found out about 3 weeks ago, I guess. Major League Baseball contacted me and asked me if I would manage the World team, and I was so excited about it because I knew I'd be here all week for the All-Star game anyway, and I don't think she got the words out of her mouth yet. She said, "Would you think you'd be able to?" And I said, yes, of course. And I was very excited about it.
How much fun has it been? I realize it's kind of a short period of time, but you've got all these top prospects, I guess a lot of them meeting for the first time. How do you manage a team like this?
Well, it's a little tougher because I haven't seen many of the players, and I had to rely on the coaching staff that I have to build a starting lineup. But the great part about it is I have 6 reserves, so everybody should be able to get in the game and get their at-bats in, and this game is all about them and showcasing their talents.
Did you give them a big pep talk, or what did you say in the pregame meeting?
Basically, just to have fun. If it's your game, it's your day, go out there and have fun. I'm not going to ask you to bunt and take the bat out of your hands. I want you guys to swing away, steal bases if you want, just play your game.
Now, we talk about having like a lot of veterans, former superstars managing. You're not so far removed from your playing days. Looks like if there was a necessity, you could probably step in there yourself. How much do you think that helps you that so many of these players, as young as they are, remember you, know you, were fans of yours?
Well, that is nice, and it helps. Also, these guys will tell me that they watched me play when they were, 5 years old. That doesn't help, but it helps a little bit because these guys knew I played for the Yankees, and in practice I can help them out, give them a tip or two about hitting a certain play. They listen to guys who play the game, and I'm glad to teach the game as well.
Now, the starting pitcher, couldn't have been easy to pick one, but for the world team, Carlos Carrasco of the Philadelphia Phillies. Can you tell us a little bit about him and what people should look for?
Well, he's got the potential to be a #1 starting pitcher in the big leagues for the Phillies or a major league team, and we went about it with who was the best pitcher on our team, the most potential to be an ace in the big leagues, and most of the coaches agreed that Carrasco had that kind of talent, so we started with him and then just started going down from there and hoping we get one inning out of everybody because I only have 9 pitchers.
And finally, one last question, but the game is here, 10th anniversary at Yankee Stadium, the last year at Yankee Stadium. How much more does that mean to you that you're part of this whole celebration?
Well, it means a lot to me. I'm happy to be a part of this anywhere it would have been, but to be here in Yankee Stadium the last year here, my favorite stadium where I have all my great memories, and my kids basically grew up here. It's just a great honor for me anytime I get a chance to do anything in the stadium, and this is just another great honor.
Great. Well, thank you so much, and good luck, and have a great time.
I will. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Joining Tino Martinez on that coaching staff, you see the names there, Pat Listash, Scott Little. Each of the names you see, except for Rafael Chavez, are the head coaches of the respective teams next to him. Chavez part of that coaching staff with the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Yankees. So there's the coaching staff for the world roster. Let's get into the roster itself. We move things over now to the pitching staff. Here is where you could find some diamonds in the rough. Here is where you could find some pitchers that might come out and impress on a day like today. Philippe Oman, a recent #1 draft pick for the Seattle Mariners, and you go right on down the list, all the way down to the bottom there too. A couple of talented pitchers that we're going to look at today.
Right, and Carrasco, as we know, will be the starting pitcher, so we'll get him right off the bat. Oman, unfortunately, won't get to pitch because he's hurt, but he wanted to be here and be part of the festivities. And usually what happens with the world team, these guys aren't maybe as recognizable, but they come out and they throw some serious stuff, some electric stuff, and probably will light up the radar gun some. Makes it a lot of fun and pretty difficult for the U.S. team to hit.
All right, Jonathan, let's stick with Carrasco for just a moment. Let's keep an eye on him. Here's a guy who's familiar with the Futures game, is going to get the start today for the World Squad.
Yeah, third time over. He's going to replace Justin Huber as the guy who's been here the most, gets the start. And Tino Martinez is right. He has #1 stuff potential. It's all been a matter of commanding the stuff that he has. He's still way ahead of the curve in Double-A as a young guy. He got there so fast. The fact that he had to go back there really doesn't mean he's stalled out. And he should pretty soon, I think, be able to join a guy like Cole Hamels at the top of that Phillies rotation.
All right, let's take a look now at the catchers for the world roster as well. A year ago, we were presenting this roster, and the name Giovanni Soto was on that list. 1 year later, he'll be the starting catcher for the National League. Let's take a look at the 2008 catchers. Wellington Castillo up at the top, Pablo Sandoval, and Jesus Montero, a recent name added for the world team.
Yeah, and he's a Yankee prospect, very young. I don't think you're going to see any of these guys next year make an all-star team because they're a little ways away. Sandoval's the closest. He just got promoted up to Double-A and is a guy who's really starting to come into his own as a 21-year-old catcher, can play a little first base as well.
All right, in 2007, it was a world infielder who walked away with the MVP award. That, of course, was Dodger prospect Chin Lung Hu. Let's take a look at the infielders for the world roster. Elvis Andrus, a name you might know because of the trades that he has been a part of in the past. And how about this? Angel Villalona with San Francisco, the last name you see there, the youngest player we'll see today. He will not turn 18 for another month, Jonathan.
And if you see him up close, you understand that he still looks like a kid. He still has my condolences to Villalona. A little baby fat, going there. But if you look at him from a distance, he is, I guess a man-child is the best way to put it. And I'm very excited to see him take some hacks here in Yankee Stadium and see if maybe he can get one up into the air and hit one out.
All right, another name on that list is Ivan DeJesus. He is a Dodger prospect. Will he follow up with who and become this year's MVP? Noah Kozlov takes a look back.
Ivan DeJesus Jr. was only a toddler when his father retired after 15 years in the major leagues. But Senior's legacy lives on in his son, the top shortstop prospect in the Los Angeles Dodgers organization.
At just 21 years old, Ivan Jr. has been handed the responsibility of not just being the anchor of the Jacksonville Suns infield, but also of being that team's leader.
I would say we don't have a bona fide team leader. So we've kind of asked Ivan, hey, in the middle of the diamond, we'd like you to be our team leader. Now, he has that ability because of the way he plays and people want to follow his actions. We're trying to get him to just improve in all areas of team leadership. I have a bad game, we win, everybody's happy. I have a good game, we lose, everybody shouldn't really be happy.
Such a big responsibility for such a young player might be a bit more overwhelming had Ivan not had the benefit of the advice and counsel of such a well-respected veteran in the family, and he takes advantage of that advice on a regular basis. What kind of advice?
Come to the field every day and play like I know how to play. Be confident in myself, be confident in God that He's going to help me a lot in every day being here, like long season, and get healthy.
While Ivan Sr., now an advisor for the Chicago Cubs, was known more for his glove than his bat, Junior's profiling is more of a well-rounded player so far.
Well, the biggest strength that he brings to the table for a 21-year-old, without a doubt, is that his plate discipline. He does not normally chase a lot of pitches that are out of the strike zone. He makes the pitcher work. He's going to hit with 2 strikes. He's not afraid of a 2-strike count. He's going to chase some pitches once in a while, but he lays off a lot of tough breaking stuff. So, in my opinion, that would be his biggest strength for somebody 21 years old.
the way he's been playing in his Double-A debut, DeJesus would be opening eyes even if his name were John Doe. But one thing seems sure, this sun is definitely rising.
I'm proud. I'm proud of being a son of former big leaguer. I'm really proud. When I go at bat and they call Ivan DeJesus Jr., my heart's good, Pete, and I'm proud of being a son of a big leaguer.
And preparations continue for the 2008 Futures game. A look now at the World dugout. There's DeJesus getting ready as the World squad goes up against the U.S. squad. It's the 2008 Futures game here in the Bronx, New York, the 10th annual, with the first being back in 1999. Let's look at the rest of that World roster as well, too. We talked about the talented outfield that was possessed on the U.S. side, but on the World side, not too shabby as well. A couple of names that might jump out at you, some names that you could look forward to seeing in the next couple of years. The World outfield is just as talented, Jonathan.
Absolutely. Gorkas Hernandez, another repeat performer, this time with a different organization, was with Detroit, now with Atlanta, part of the trade last year. I'm excited to see a guy like Shea-Swan Lin, who's kind of been an under-the-radar guy in the Red Sox organization, very young. I like seeing young guys get a chance and see what they can become. Gerardo Parra, another guy not many people know about, but he's done nothing but hit at every stop in the Diamondback system.
All right, let's keep an eye on Fernando Martinez out of that Mets system. He's a name we heard about a lot in trade conversation. Of course, he's still with the Mets. What can we expect?
Yeah, this is a guy who everyone's waiting for him to fulfill his potential. He's had a lot of nagging injuries, and that's what's held him up. Yet, anytime you talk to a scout who's seen him play for any length of time healthy, they are still excited about his bat speed, about his ability in the outfield. You know, eventually maybe he's a corner outfielder, but he does have all those tools and should have a ton of power once he gets to the big leagues. The only thing that's really held him up, Vinny, has been his ability to stay healthy.
All right, earlier, Jonathan, when we discussed the World infielders, we talked about Elvis Andrus. He, of course, came from Atlanta over to Texas in a trade that involved Mark Teixeira. He's standing by with our own Lisa Winston.
I'm here with Elvis Andrus of the Texas Rangers and the shortstop for the World team. And Elvis, you were here in the Futures game last year also. What did it mean to you to get named to the team a second time?
Well, thank you for the interview, Lisa. And, you know, it's a really good experience for me. Like, I've been here last year too, but this year it's really awesome. You know, it's really exciting for my part, you know, being the Yankee Stadium the last year. So it's like a dream come true for me, you know, like since I was a kid, you know, I see all the games in here. Like my favorite player, Derek Jeter, plays shortstop, so I will play shortstop today, and I'm really excited right now.
Did you get to bring any of your friends and family here with you? Are they going to be watching online?
No, they can come. You know, it's like it's too fast. It's just 2 days. But for sure, they're watching in Venezuela, in my country. They're watching the game for sure.
Now, last year you were here with the Atlanta Braves. It's here with the Texas Rangers. How has the change been for you, and how are you enjoying Frisco in the Texas League this first half of the season?
Well, yeah, you know, it was like a surprise for me last year for the trade. But you know, it's a business, and that's the way I take it. And you know, I just happy to be here. You know, my new organization, they're really good with me. Like they give me a good welcome last year. And, you know, I'm now in Frisco, and I got a really good season this year. I just, you know, keep playing hard and playing good, and that's what occurred.
All right, thank you there, Lisa, along with Elvis Andrus. You know, a lot of these players are experiencing this for the first time, getting a chance to do it. Unlike Elvis, but you yourself got a chance to follow around a couple of players as they prepare for the 08 game.
Yeah, it's something we've liked to do the last couple of years where we bring a guy in a little early just to experience the city. Usually there's a geographic tie. Neil Walker in Pittsburgh, Chuck Lofgren out in San Francisco. This year we decided to bring in Luke Hughes from Australia, Scott Campbell from New Zealand, and just take them on a tour of a city. You know, neither of them had been to a place the size of New York City, and we thought it would be a good idea to let them experience it firsthand before the Futures game.
All right, so from down under now to the big city in the Bronx, an opportunity to play in the 08 game. Let's take a little bit further look into Campbell and Hughes' experience in New York.
The All-Star game and Sunday's Futures game is coming to New York City, so MLB.com took a pair of World Team members to see the sights.
Hi guys, how you doing? My name's Luke Hughes. I'm with the Minnesota Twins organization, and we're here in New York City for the first time, about to take a bus ride and have a little look around the city.
Hi, my name's Scott Campbell with the Blue Jays organization. I'm from Auckland, New Zealand. First time in New York, we're looking forward to it. Going to take a tour on a tour bus, so why don't you come with us?
After they boarded the Gray Line double-decker, the duo became sights themselves.
These guys back here going to be playing at Yankee Stadium? Yeah. Minor League All-Star game before the Major League All-Star game. Right in the back, take a look. Future Major Leaguers back there, guys. Come on.
Indeed, the biggest stop for this pair won't occur until Sunday, when they get to play in the house that Ruth built.
There's really not a word you can say, that, can tell you how excited I am, I guess. But, especially being the last year that people are going to play in Yankee Stadium, it was like our last opportunity to get that, get that chance. So for me, it's awesome.
From the Flatiron Building all the way downtown, Hughes and Campbell kept track of all New York had to offer. There were certain landmarks that seemed to stand out for the Futures gamers on this tour.
We've seen a lot of movies with it on, and you've always said it'd be nice to go and actually see that, in person, and like the World Trade Center, and where that was, and definitely seen it, in person has showed, that it's a great place and it's a great spot for, for America and that.
The tour went from bus to ferry as Hughes and Campbell got to see Lady Liberty up close.
Until 3 weeks ago, I didn't think I'd ever have a chance to see it, so what a great opportunity,
It's got nothing on the Sydney Opera House, so I think we got it beat.
I don't know, that's pretty good too, I've seen that, so.
The day's activities served merely as a bridge to Sunday's main event, the 10th annual XM Satellite Radio All-Star Futures Game.
Hey, this is Scott Campbell. Thanks for taking the tour with us through New York City.
Yeah, my name's Luke Hughes, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you can get out and watch the game.
Yankee Stadium.
It's a big one.
So often we look at the experience of these players, and we know the ultimate goal, Jonathan, is to get to the major leagues. But some of the caveats along the way that you get to see as well, too, are what make it exciting when you watch players like Campbell and Hughes make their way through New York City, maybe for the first time, be able to get a chance to check everything out as they go to play at Yankee Stadium. Whether or not they make it at some point, this is an experience they could take back with them.
Right, and it'll never be forgotten. You're right. Even if they somehow don't make it up to the big leagues, this will either be seen as a stepping stone or the highlight. Right now, it's a highlight for them, and they really made the most of it. They had no idea when they were brought in a day earlier that they were going to go on this tour, so they really enjoyed themselves, played the tourist thing up, had a great time with us, and it made for what I think a much better future as a result.
All right, now, Jonathan, you, of course, get the opportunity to follow a lot of these players all during the course of the year. Every time trades are made, we seemingly more and more with every trade talk a lot about the players going back to the other side. How will that benefit the team? When can we expect to see them? Are you changing your approach as to what you're looking for in these futures games from maybe what you did way back in 1999?
Not really. I mean, back in '99, we didn't know what to expect at all from this game, and it was fun to see them. And frankly, I wasn't covering the minor leagues as much, so I wasn't seeing them in person. To me, I just want to see these guys that I've seen maybe play in the Carolina League or the South Atlantic League in these small parks, not in front of big crowds, and see what they do on this kind of stage and see how they soak it all in and maybe put their names on more of a national or international map by having a good game here.
Is that a good chance then to see when a player really sticks out and all of a sudden becomes a player that establishes himself in this game? They're against their peers that are supposed to be of equal talent.
It can't hurt. Obviously, like I said, scouts are watching, so other teams are seeing how they do in this in this kind of setting. So it's a great opportunity for them to show their own organization what they can do, as well as the other teams.
All right, that's Jonathan Mayo. I'm Vinny McCucci. We'll be with you throughout the game. It's time now for the 2008 Futures Game. We throw things down to the field for the introduction of the players.
Charity of Major League Baseball. These youngsters from the Education Alliance, the Children's Aid Society, and the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club are each carrying the flag of a country or territory represented by a future game player or coach. The 11 countries represented today are Australia, Canada, Cuba, Curacao in the Netherlands, the Dominican Republic, Mexico, New Zealand, Puerto Rico, Taiwan, Venezuela, and the United States of America. And now, let's meet the future stars of Major League Baseball. First, for the World Team. The manager, he was a 4-time World Series champion during his illustrious career with the Yankees, with 2 All-Star Game appearances and a clutch hitter with over 1,200 runs batted in. Please welcome Yankees hero, Tino Martinez. And now, the rest of the World Team coaching staff. From the Iowa Cubs, Pat Listat. From the Frisco Rough Riders, Scott Little. From the Toledo Mud Hens, Larry Parrish. From the Harrisburg Senators, John Stearns. From the Birmingham Barons, Carlos Sobero. From the Wilkes-Barre Yankees, currently in the bullpen, Rafael Chavez. Now let's meet the World Team players. First, from Australia, representing the Minnesota Twins, from the New Britain Rockcats, Luke Hughes. From Canada, representing the Seattle Mariners, from the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, Felipe Omar. From Cuba, representing the Tampa Bay Rays, from the Montgomery Biscuits, Eddie Moreland. From Curaçao in the Netherlands, representing the Washington Nationals, from the Columbus Clippers, Sharon Marquis. From the Dominican Republic, representing the Arizona Diamondbacks, from the Mobile Bay Bears, Ara De Para. In the bullpen, representing the Chicago Cubs, from the Tennessee Smokies, Wellington Castillo. Representing the Cincinnati Reds, from the Sarasota Reds, Juan Francisco. Representing the Detroit Tigers, from the Erie Seawolves, Wilkin Ramirez. Representing the Houston Astros, from the Corpus Christi Hooks, Olin Trinidad. Representing the Kansas City Royals, from the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, Julio Pimultel. Representing the New York Mets, from the Binghamton Mets, Fernando Martinez. Representing the San Francisco Giants, from the Augusta Green Jackets, Angel Villalora. From Mexico, representing the New York Yankees, from the Trenton Thunder, Ramiro Pena. Representing the St. Louis Cardinals, from the Springfield Cardinals, Fernando Chalas. From New Zealand, representing the Toronto Blue Jays, from the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, Scott Campbell. From Puerto Rico, representing the Los Angeles Dodgers, from the Jacksonville Suns, Ivan De Jesus. From Taiwan, representing the Boston Red Sox, from the Greenville Drive, Pei-Shawan Lin. From Venezuela, representing the Atlanta Braves, from the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, Gorkis Hernandez. Representing the Cleveland Indians, from the Kinston Indians, Hector Rondon. Representing the Florida Marlins, from the Carolina Mudcats, Jesus Delgado. Representing the New York Yankees, from the Charleston River Dogs, Jesus Montero. Representing the Oakland A's, from the Stockton Ports, Henry Rodriguez. In the bullpen, representing the Philadelphia Phillies, from the Reading Phillies, Carlos Carrasco. Representing the San Francisco Giants, from the Connecticut Defenders, Pablo Sandoval. Representing the Texas Rangers, from the Frisco Rough Riders, Elvis Andrus. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2008 World Team. Now, let's meet the U.S. team. First, the manager. As a player, he was a two-time World Series champion and four-time All-Star. As a manager, he won another World Series championship right here in New York with the Mets and has been named American League Manager of the Year. This summer, he will lead your United States Olympic team in their gold medal quest in Beijing. Please welcome Davey Johnson. And now, the rest of the U.S. team coaching staff. From the 2008 U.S. Olympic team, auxiliary coach Dick Cook. From the 2008 U.S. Olympic team, third base and bench coach Rick Eckstein. From the 2008 U.S. Olympic team, hitting coach Reggie Smith. From the 2008 U.S. Olympic team, currently in the bullpen, pitching coach Marcel Lachman. Now, let's meet the U.S. team. Representing the Arizona Diamondbacks, from the Tucson Sidewinders, Jamie D'Antorna. Representing the Baltimore Orioles, from the Frederick Keys, Jake Arrieta. Representing the Chicago White Sox, from the Charlotte Knights, Chris Getz. In the bullpen, representing the Chicago White Sox, from the Charlotte Knights, Clayton Richard. Representing the Cincinnati Reds, from the Chattanooga Lookouts, Chris Valleca. Representing the Cleveland Indians, from the Akron Aeros, Wesley Hodges. Also representing the Cleveland Indians, from the Akron Aeros, Mateo Laporta. Representing the Colorado Rockies, from the Tulsa Drillers, Dexter Fowler. Also representing the Colorado Rockies, from the Tulsa Drillers, Ryan Mateos. And representing the Colorado Rockies, from the Tulsa Drillers, Casey Withers. Representing the Milwaukee Brewers, from the Huntsville Stars, Mateo Gammons. Representing the Oakland Athletics, from the Midland Rockhounds, Brett Anderson. Also representing the Oakland Athletics, from the Midland Rockhounds, Trevor Cahill. And representing the Oakland Athletics, from the Sacramento River Cats, Cliff Pennington. Representing the Philadelphia Phillies, from the Reading Phillies, Jason Donald. Also representing the Philadelphia Phillies, from the Reading Phillies, Greg Golson. In the bullpen, representing the Philadelphia Phillies, from the Reading Phillies, Lou Marson. Representing the Pittsburgh Pirates, from the Indianapolis Indians, Andrew McCutchen. Representing the St. Louis Cardinals, from the Memphis Redbirds, Brian Anderson. Also representing the St. Louis Cardinals, from the Springfield Cardinals, Jess Aha. Representing the San Diego Padres, from the San Antonio Mission, William Inman. Representing the San Francisco Giants, from the San Jose Giants, Kevin Pusatus. Also representing the San Francisco Giants, from the Fresno Grizzlies, Nate Shearholt. representing the Texas Rangers from the Oklahoma Red Hawks, Taylor Teagarden. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2008 U.S. team. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise? Before playing today's anthem, we ask you to please observe a moment of silence for Bobby Mercer, who passed away yesterday afternoon. Bobby was a beloved longtime member of the Yankees family. After his long playing career was over, Bobby moved up to the booth and continued to contribute to the Yankees as a distinguished broadcaster. A five-time All-Star, Bobby will be missed by everyone he touched, both in and out of the Yankee family. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we honor America. Presenting our national anthem today, please welcome John Amarante.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, John Amarante.
Weekend. Before we celebrate the current stars of baseball, we get a glimpse into the future as the best prospects in the game take the field at the big ballpark in the Bronx. This is Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built. It has seen scores of baseball legends during its illustrious past and so many memorable moments. Now, in its final season, it is going to showcase the future. For 10 years, the All-Star Futures game has set the platform for the next generation of baseball. A spotlight for the elite prospects in the game. So many of today's brightest stars first took their bows on this stage. Today, the future meets the past. The stars of tomorrow play on hallowed ground. The 2008 XM All-Star Futures game from Yankee Stadium.
An important lesson I learned is to never give up.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America teach kids the importance of never giving up.
Home run, Big Puffy spikes again!
Big kid, big effort, big smile. I guess that's why they call me Big Poppy.
Major League Baseball is a proud sponsor of
names that you'll be hearing about in Major League Baseball in the years to come as the future All-Stars of the world take on the All-Stars from the USA. Hi, everybody. Gary Thornton along with Steve Phillips. A special twist as far as the USA team is concerned. The Olympics are coming up. Many of these names on this USA team are going to be seen wearing an Olympic uniform. A final chance for them to impress those who will make that decision. 10th year of this game, Steve. 51 players from this Futures All-Star game have shown up at the MLB All-Star game.
Well, this is always a special event, and certainly the Olympic connection makes it that much more special. But just last year in 2007, think about how many of those young players that played in this Futures game impacted the major leagues. Giovanni Soto, starting catcher in the All-Star game for the National League. Evan Longoria, an All-Star as well, participating in the Home Run Derby on Monday. So a lot of great players played last year. We've got a lot of great future stars here as well. So some real talent on the field today.
Now, as far as the Olympics and Team USA is concerned, the decision's going to be made on that roster tonight in a hotel room here in New York. So for some of these players, it's their final chance to make an impression.
And some really spectacular players for the U.S. team here. Andrew McCutchen, former first-round pick for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2005, a five-tool player. He can do so many things on the field to impact the game. Comparisons to Marquise Grissom, a guy who can play defense, can swing the bat, a little bit of pop, can steal bases, 24 stolen bases. And at third base, Matt Gamble, Milwaukee Brewers AA player. We heard a lot about Matt Laporta, but Gamble hitting .375 for the Huntsville team, AA for the Brewers. Can really swing the bat, an outstanding offensive player. So we're going to see a lot of offense potentially in this game today.
And you mentioned Matt Laporta. I'm not sure there's a bigger name as far as renowned is concerned than Matt Laporta, and Aaron is with him right now. Aaron Andrus.
All right, Gary, thank you so much. Matt, in the days leading up to the trade for CC Sabathia, you kept hearing your name over and over, I'm sure. What was that like for you?
Well, at the time, I just thought it was a rumor and people speculating, and then it started getting closer and closer. It was like, oh, this could really go through and happen for me.
So you've been with the Indians for 4 games. I mean, what's the transition been like for you?
It's been a pretty good transition. That's a great ball club, the Akron Arrows, great manager and stuff, and get along with the guys good, and they accepted me like I've been playing with them all season.
Kind of been all over the place on the field. You played first base in college, outfield with the Brewers. What have the Indians told you?
The Indians told me to play left field for right now and take first base, take balls at first base a couple times a week. So that's where we're at right now.
All right, Matt Laporta, thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Aaron, thanks very much. That's one of the names you'll see. Now, on the world side of things, Steve, make no mistake about it. These are players from outside the United States who are here to make a mark, an impression.
And certainly a lot of talent on the world team as well. When you build a team, you want to be strong up the middle. Well, the world team is that, but they're also young up the middle. 19 years old at shortstop. Elvis Andrus for the Texas Rangers. Picked up the Mark Teixeira deal last year from the Atlanta Braves. A 5-tool guy, covers a lot of ground growing up as a player and as a person through the minor leagues, hopefully in the major leagues very soon. And Fernando Martinez, the player the Mets would not give up on the Johan Santana deal. He's playing center field today. A guy they project to be the center fielder of the future in New York. Covers a lot of ground from gap to gap and can really swing the bat. So 2 19-year-olds, the centerpiece for the world team today.
And most of them have never been to Yankee Stadium before, so if you don't think their hearts are aflutter, just hang on. 10th edition XM All-Star Futures Game coming up next. First pitch from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx.
instead of getting a hot dog, you get squid on a stick.
They adopted the philosophy of the old samurai, turned baseball into a martial art.
There's cheerleaders, there's songs for every player.
They're very passionate about baseball over here.
Japanese fans have embraced baseball since its earliest days and added their own touches. Recently, they've had a lot to cheer about. What is at the heart of Japan's national sport? Find out on Yankee, Japan's Game, an MLB.com original.
By XM. 170 channels to find what turns you on, including MLB on XM. Every team, every game. And in part by Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good. And CDW, the right technology right away.
Beautiful sight, the new and the old. We're talking about the stadiums as well as the players you're going to be seeing here in New York this weekend. The new Yankee Stadium going up directly across the street, already being referred to as the Taj Mahal of New York. It is some impressive structure and some impressive players that you're going to see, as the U.S. will be the home team taking on the world team being managed by Tito Martinez, the former great New York Yankee player. Let's take a look at the lineup for this world team. Ivan DeJesus of the Dodgers, Double-A, leading it off. His dad was a Major League Baseball player. Elvis Andrus, 19 years old. He is at short. He'll be batting second. Wilkin Ramirez will play in left field. This is a guy with a lot of power for the Tigers. Pablo Sandoval, he'll be doing the catching. He is with the Giants Double-A ball club. Luke Hughes will get the start at third base. He had an amazing April at the plate, one of the best starts in all of the minors. Scott Campbell, he'll be getting the start. He is a New Zealander. He'll be the designated hitter. In center field, it'll be Fernando Martinez. Martinez, Double-A ball for the Mets. Doing the catching, Wellington Castillo. Tremendous Double-A man behind the plate defensively. And Gorgas Hernandez, another name we'll be talking a lot about. Edgar Renteria is the one he's most compared to. Let's take a look at the starting pitcher for the USA All-Star future.
24-year-old left-hander Richard Clayton for the Chicago White Sox organization. Playing at the AAA level right now. Got moved up from Double-A. Signed out of the University of Michigan, where he actually was a quarterback there. Redshirted his freshman year, played a little bit as a sophomore, and then decided, you know what? They got some pretty good other quarterbacks. Let me commit to baseball, and it has worked out very well for him.
And we are ready to go. Now this is going to be a 9-inning ball game. Left-hander delivers, and that'll be taken down low. That 9 innings is a change from what we have had in the past to give these players a little better look-see and for you a chance to see them. DeJesus will take that one for a strike. He is from Puerto Rico, a second-round pick, and his dad, a long-time major leaguer, Von DeJesus. That one's going to be taken into left field, and he's got a base hit. How fast you think his heart is beating? He'd probably like to call for the baseball, but doesn't dare to. Leadoff single.
Well, Dad's in the stands a little bit as well, and get a chance to take a look at the defense that's out there today for the U.S. team. And awful lot of talent on this club. They cover a lot of ground on the outfield. And Dexter Fowler in center field, a lot of speed there. And Matt Laporta, the name we talked about. Aaron talked to him at the beginning of the show as well, playing first base. So remember, this U.S. team, from this group of players, some of them will be part of our team going to Beijing in the Olympics.
Elvis Andrus stands in, and a ground ball towards second base. Played Pennington to Donald, over to first. That'll go wild. and into the photographer's well, and the runner will take second base as it ends up going out of play. So a fielder's choice for Andrus. They get to Jesus on the put out at second base, and the error on the throw will put the runner down at second.
Well, Jason Donald just got his shoulder closed a little bit, but the ball sails on him, gets away from Matt Laporta, and just tried to rush it some. Got a good feed on the double play, and the ball just kind of tailed away, didn't stay on top of it enough. And geez, come on, I know I'm trying to show off and make some plays out here.
Not what he wanted. The pitch will be taken inside by Wilkin Ramirez. Ramirez has moved his way up from Double-A ball to the Toledo Mud Hens, where he's played the last 11 games this season. Runner going to third, stolen base, no throw made as Andrus got a real good jump. Clayton Richard, you can imagine these players just trying to get themselves settled in for this game, Steve. Some of the things they normally do, like looking a runner back, don't happen. Runner on at third base now with only one away, and that will be taken inside by Ramirez.
Well, meeting with the World coaching staff before the game yesterday, Tino Martinez, the manager of the team, they talked about they don't have a lot of power on this roster, but they've got a lot of speed, so they're going to run.
That will be taken on the outside corner. Ramirez combined numbers this season. He's hitting .280, 14 home runs with 45 RBIs. He has struck out 102 times, an ongoing problem in the minors for him, with 32 walks. Cues that one off the end of the bat and fouls it off, and a 3-ball, 2-strike count. There's a face familiar to Yankee Stadium.
Well, I tell you, he took it as such an honor to be asked to manage the World team in this game, and was taking it very seriously, running the meeting with his coaching staff, trying to get through the rosters and who's going to play.
Pitch is taken inside and a walk. So for Clayton Richard, the starting pitcher now, the corners are covered with only one away, and Sandoval, the cleanup batter, coming up.
And for Richard, I mean, command is a part of his game. I mean, he throws strikes. So early on here, maybe a little bit overwhelmed by the scenery and the environment of being at Yankee Stadium and not watching the runner at second base, giving up the stolen base, and now a base on balls.
Richard also has worked his way up, Double-A, Triple-A. He's got a 12-6 mark with a 2.44 ERA. As you take a look at Pablo Sandoval, the 21-year-old who was signed as a free agent, he has got power. Sandoval will take the pitch outside for a ball. Can you imagine what one of these futures stars would do if he hits one out at Yankee Stadium?
Well, what a dream come true. I mean, for all these players talking to him, just playing at Yankee Stadium, a real plus.
Sandoval up the middle, hit the pitcher's glove. Donald will make the play. Good pivot, not in time, as Pennington barehanded that one. A run will score, and the World will take a 1-0 lead. Andrus crosses the plate. Sandoval will get the RBI in the fielder's choice.
Well, Richard got his glove on the balls, went back up the middle, and slowed it down just enough for Jason Donald to be able to get it. And you see, he hits the glove there. Donald able to get it, get the flip there, and a heads-up play by Pennington trying to turn two. Good pick at first base by Laporta as well, and well played all around.
So that stolen base ended up mattering here as a run is scored. Here is Luke Hughes. Hughes lifts that one to center field. Fowler going back has a beat on it and will haul it in for the out. So a run in on a hit with a base runner left on as the World gets on the board. A 1-0 lead. We'll take a look at the USA lineup when we come back.
MLB on XM, every team, every game. Ask not what the team thinks.
To the top half of the first inning of play, the World team with an early 1-0 lead over Team USA. First, let's start off here. Clayton Richard, a AAA pitcher out of the Chicago White Sox system. Jonathan, somebody that he gets to start, and a little rough in the early going, but some defensive miscues as well for him.
Yeah, had some defensive miscues. Probably obviously should have been out of the inning on that double play ball. You know, obviously you're going to be a little amped up. You're getting the start in Yankee Stadium in the Futures game, but this is a guy that people should get used to his name because there's a very good chance that he's going to go on to Beijing as part of the Olympic squad.
Now, on the same flip of the coin here, you have the early play where the combination of Donald and Pennington up the middle results in a fielder's choice and then an error over towards first. But then moments later, a nice flip and a barehanded turn by Pennington. So also flashes of brilliance defensively.
Maybe the nerves settling down a little bit. You get that first play out of the way, even if it went awry. And both those guys are good defensive players. Pennington's played a lot of shortstop himself and is used to playing both sides of that double play combination, and came very close to turning with Matt Laporta, who really hasn't played much first base this year at all. doing a nice job digging that ball out of the dirt. Almost turned 2 to end the inning.
All right, now let's take a look over at the world side of things. They do score a run. Elvis Andrus comes in to score a brilliant steal of third. He had a jump and a half over in order to take the base. But this is a lineup that we saw early, at least in that first inning, wasn't waiting for pitches. They were taking, they were swinging right away. DeJesus, one of the first pitches he saw, he got on with a hit. These teams are swinging right now.
You know, if you're playing in an all-star game, you want to take your hacks. Walks are nice, but you don't know how many at-bats you're going to get in Yankee Stadium, so you might as well swing away. And a lot of these guys tend to be free swingers anyway, and Andrus basically was handed third base, and shows you why Texas fans and the organization are so excited about him, because speed is just one of the things that he's very good at.
All right, Jonathan, interviews, analysis, and much more coming your way. We swing things back over to the broadcast. Bottom of the first, World up 1-0.
Stars of the future. Let's take a look at the lineup that they'll have, and it's got a lot of names, as we said, that you're going to see around the Olympic team, with some final choices to be made based on what happens here today. Leading it off will be Andrew McCutchen. He will be in left field. He's with the Pirates and 11th overall in the selection process. Cliff Pennington makes the start at second base. Some injuries have held him back for a while. That pitch to McCutchen, the left fielder, is taken outside for a ball. We'll get the rest of the lineup here in a moment. Chris Carrasco, the 21-year-old on the mound, the right-hander. That pitch is going to be delivered down low. Carrasco with the Phillies Double-A team in Reading.
And their best minor league prospect, best prospect since Cole Hamels came through the organization there.
That'll be fouled off the end of the bat. The 2-ball, 1-strike count on Andrew McCutchen.
Carrasco's a name that's been brought up a lot as the Phillies look for starting pitching to help them at the major league level. When they're shopping around, the name that they're getting asked for in return is Carlos Carrasco. Outstanding stuff, nothing straight, a lot of movement on his pitches.
That one breaks the bat, popped it up towards first base. Sandoval is there and will put it away. Andrew McCutchen is retired, and there is one down. These hitters anxious. They see anything that looks like a strike, they are ready to go after it. That's why you're seeing so many early swings here in these lineups. These kids did not come here to draw walks.
No, you don't want to come to Yankee Stadium and play in an all-star futures game and draw a couple walks for yourself, and would help to work the count, because sometimes the first strike isn't the best strike, though.
Cliff Pennington will take that one for a strike. For Pennington this season, 24-year-old, first-round selection in 05. He too has moved up to 2 ball clubs. His totals in the Pacific Coast League and the Texas League, hitting .269 with a couple of homers, 29 RBIs. He's drawn 72 walks and struck out only 59 times. So kind of prototype numbers for a number 2 hitter.
Well, and from the Oakland A's organization, that's kind of what they look for, is those guys with plate discipline. Former first-round pick out of Texas A&M University, 2005 by Oakland.
1-2 delivery to Pennington, his way outside. Carrasco missing on that one, and the count will go to 2 balls and 2 strikes. For Carrasco, 5-7. He's worked 99 innings, 99 hits, 91 strikeouts, and a 4.09 ERA.
A lot of nines in there.
Might want to go to the lotto on that one. 2-2 delivery by Carrasco. Check swing, and he went around on it. John Tumpane, the umpire at home plate, making the call, and there are 2 down.
I talk about Carlos Carrasco. Outstanding stuff. Great secondary stuff that the scouts like. The fastball gets up there with a lot of movement, but the 91 strikeouts comes on a very good curveball and a pretty good developing slider.
Signed out of a tryout camp in Venezuela in 2003. As a number of these players have been signed out of those kinds of tryout camps. Pitch is taken away. Matthew Gamal, who is in the number 3 hole in the lineup, only 22 years old. You will note the players will be wearing the caps of their major league affiliates during the course of this ball game. Gamal has some outstanding power in the Southern League, leading almost every offensive category this season.
Hitting .375 on the season, putting up big numbers, and a guy that has been able to swing the bat, but last year had a good offensive season, but 53 errors in 128 games at third base. So the defense is developing.
And the walk will be surrendered on 4 consecutive out of the strike zone by Carrasco with 2 down. Gamal is on. D'Antonio is batting in the cleanup spot, and there are the caps you see of the major league teams. We thought it somewhat interesting that the manager of the U.S. team, who's going to be going to the Olympics, David Johnson, former major league manager, what cap would you think he would be wearing? We'll let you guess on that, and then we'll show it to you, as it might be a surprise, especially to people around New York. The designated hitter, Jamie D'Antonio, with a runner on at first base. D'Antonio hitting .375. Will take the pitch up high for a ball. In the Pacific Coast League, 15 home runs and 61 RBIs. Castillo a visit to the mound.
He's a doubles machine. Had 43 doubles last year, 31 already this year. We talk about at age 26, not the prototypical all-star futures player, the young developing guy with prospects. Been at the AAA level for a couple years, a productive offensive player, but part of this game because Team USA is going to select from a pool of 60, and all of these players in this game from USA eligible for the U.S. Olympic team.
That is taken inside for a ball and a 2-0 count. Carrasco got the first couple of outs relatively easily. He's fallen behind now 6 in a row out of the strike zone. Look at the numbers. The Pacific Coast League, you're hitting .375 in your second. Yikes. Here's the 2-0 delivery. Swung out and missed. Just challenged him with a heater right there, 2-1.
Now, big swing right there. You can see where he has some power, but it is a long swing at times, which could lead to some swings and misses. But when he runs into one, he can hit it a long way. And a veteran offensive player, as the USA starts to put together their potential Olympic team, you have to think he's going to be a strong consideration.
2-1 delivery on the way to him, way inside. Ball gets away. Runner will stay at first, though, as Castillo initially caught that, so the runner held on, and Gammons stays at the bag. Davey Johnson is wearing a New York Mets cap, the team he managed to a world championship back in 1986. It is the first time he has put that cap on again since '86. And he said today, I just thought it was appropriate being back here in New York. How about that? A lot of people would have said he wouldn't do that.
Mets fans really love Davey Johnson.
Swung on, and that'll make it full, 3-2.
In these games, sometimes it's a great barometer from scouts and from front office for your players. This is a different environment. This is part of development. To be able to read your player. It's one thing to see them in their minor league games, but to see them in a big stadium, this sort of a setting, on television, see who tries too hard, see who's able to let the game come to them.
D'Antonio foul tip that one. Castillo's able to hang on to it, and that'll do it. Carrasco striking out a couple. One left on. We've completed one, and it's the world on top in our XM All-Star Futures game.
The world team owns a 1-0 lead over the U.S. squad. We've played one inning here in the Bronx. Chris Valaika is a prospect in the Reds organization. And we send things down to the field now. Lisa Winston is standing by with them.
Here in the U.S. dugout with Chris Valaika of the Reds, the Chattanooga Lookouts shortstop, and right now one of the shortstops for Team USA and the U.S. team here. And Chris, what is the experience like when you found out you've been named to the Futures team?
It was unbelievable to find out. Such an honor to be on the Futures, the Futures game, and let alone play in Yankee Stadium. It's just an unbelievable experience.
Now, you've got a little bit of experience having played for Team USA over the years. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it means to be on this team, knowing what the next possible step is from here?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play Team USA since I was 16, 18, and collegiately. And if I could get to play in the Olympics this year, that would just be the epitome of USA baseball. I think that'd be just a great honor just to be on a team like that.
What did it feel like when you actually stepped out there on the field at Yankee Stadium with all the other great prospects and the people that have walked here before you?
It's unbelievable just to look up and see this stadium and all the history that's come through here. It's a great feeling.
So is there one thing in particular that you were really looking forward to about this experience here?
I think just being able to go play on the same dirt Derek Jeter does and stand in his shoes out there. So I think that's going to be great.
Did you get to share his locker in the clubhouse?
No, I'm actually in Robinson Canoes, so that's pretty good company, I guess.
Great. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
Featuring the State Farm Home Run Derby. That's tomorrow, July 14th. To purchase tickets, please visit the Yankee Stadium Advance Tickets.
We're in the process of seeing who's going to make our team, so it's exciting for me right now, too.
Yeah, great showcase for these players. What are you looking for as you make out the roster?
Great hitting, pitching, defense, all the things above, yeah. And makeup, there's a lot of great guys here. They all have had great years, so it's just fun seeing them play.
Gary Thorne and Steve Phillips were just talking about the fact it's the first time you've put on a Mets hat since '86, except for golf tournaments you mentioned. What went into that decision today?
Oh, it's a great honor to wear the Mets hat. I have nothing but great memories from being a Met. And it looks like they're coming around. I think they're going to win their division, so that's good.
We still got a lot of time left. Come on now, you know that.
8 in a row or something. They're hot. They're going to win today too, so I feel good for them.
9 maybe if you watch Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Shameless plug. Davey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Aaron, thank you. And Davey, talking with us before the game, was talking about how the world caliber of play has picked up so much. So he's not kidding when he says, I'm looking for pitching, hitting, defense, speed.
Well, the team in Japan, they're sending major league players. Each of the 12 teams are sending their 2 best players to put together the Japanese club.
And a nice running catch as McCutchen comes on to get it, and Carlos Campbell, the designated hitter, is out of there. We'll have a new pitcher every inning. Trevor Cahill with the A's is the youngest member of this USA team.
Now, 20-year-old right-handed. Take a look at those numbers. 61 hits in 108 innings, 122 strikeouts. This kid has exceptional stuff. Very bright. Had committed to Dartmouth. So you got to like he has the physical presence and the smarts to be effective.
Fernando Martinez stands in. Fernando Martinez in the Mets organization. He has worked his way up through 2 levels so far this season. He played in the Gulf Coast Mets organization and now with Binghamton. And combined, he has hit .303 with 4 homers, 21 RBIs, 12 walks on the season. He goes after it, and he's got himself a base hit. So Martinez on for the World team with their second hit. That one with 1 away.
Now the Mets' number 1 prospect, a guy that they would not put in the Johan Santana deal, as the Minnesota Twins certainly had interest in him. And I had a chance to shake his hand before the game. His paws are huge. I mean, and he's not the biggest kid in the world. I mean, 6'1", 6'2", but just strong hands. And, just 19 years old, still developing his entire game, growing up physically as well as mentally and emotionally throughout the minor league system.
And these youngsters who can run, if they get a chance in this game, are going to do that. So they'll be keeping an eye on him at first base as Wellington Castillo stands in. He is doing the catching out of the Cubs organization. He has moved up from the Florida State lead and the Southern League this season, where he's now playing. .291 average, 4 homers, 27 RBIs, and the throw over to first base to get him back.
Now, Fernando Martinez, the top Mets prospect, but at 19 years old at the Double-A level, that's jumping some levels in development and having to kind of do some things on the fly.
Grounded foul. He's got 4 stolen bases, 4 out of 5 combined with the 2 teams he's played, 2 levels he's played at this year.
Well, a lot of times, every organization, when you have young Dominican, Venezuelan kids from the Caribbean, you need to teach them English. Well, a lot of times you do that in extended spring training programs, but when a player's at Double-A, you don't have the resources. So he has a professor in Binghamton, New York, teaching him English at the stadium on given days. So, the organization putting the structure together to allow the young man to start to learn the language, which will allow him to continue his growth and development as a player.
He's on at first base with a count at 2-1, 1 away. Castillo will chop that one down the third base line, and that one's going to go foul.
Now, one of the things I found in watching players develop, I was the farm director of the Mets organization for 4 years, the assistant farm director for a couple years. It seems to me that those kids from the Dominican, Venezuela, who adapt to learning the language more quickly, that have the aptitude for that, also seem to have the aptitude on the field to pick up the game more, to make adjustments, to learn, to grow. So it's interesting to see a young guy really committed to learning the language, understanding the impact he can have on his career.
2-2 delivery, and did he go around? They check it first, and yes, he did. Tyler Funneman, who's the first base umpire, making the call on that one, and Castillo, the catcher, will go down swinging 2 away, leaving Martinez on at first base.
Well, we have Double-A umpires out there, and just goes beyond the plate with the bat head, and they get the call. Tyler Funneman from the Texas League, first base umpire.
Trevor Cahill on the mound. He was the '07 minor league pitcher of the year, ranked number 2 in the A's organization by Baseball America, second-round pick, and working at Double-A for the A's and getting his inning in of work here. For the pitchers, it's really tough because you're only going to get one inning to show what you got. Vargas Hernandez on a big cut and didn't catch up to it. He is at the high Class A with the Braves organization, and he is a name that if the scouts are right, you're going to hear a lot more of.
Now came over was Jair Jurgens from the Detroit Tigers for Edgar Renteria. Big deal in the offseason.
Runner on at first base. Catches the outside corner with it and a 2-strike count. 1-0. World on top. Second inning.
Now Hernandez, a guy with some speed and some pop in his bat. You see the 4 home runs, and you know scouts don't worry about home run numbers early on. You want hitters to be gap-to-gap hitters. Work on doubles. The power home run numbers will come.
In the Midwest League, he stole 54 bases last season and was the league's fastest player and also voted the MVP of the Midwest League last year. Well, that's the kind of stuff that'll gather people's attention. Hernandez with a 1-ball 2-strike count. At first base, Martinez, and a throw over to get him back. For Hernandez this year in the Carolina League with the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, 279 average. He has 11 stolen bases and has been caught twice. Runner goes, fouled off. Martinez will come back to first.
Well, Trevor Cahill on the mound for the U.S. team from the Oakland A's organization. We talked about he had committed to Dartmouth to go to college, and obviously a very intelligent kid. And you know, baseball scouts will say, look, you want to have players that have instincts and intelligence. If you have one and not the other, you can still be successful, but the best players are the ones that have both.
Cahill's delivery is swung on, grounded down to third. That is a foul ball. Just went foul at the last minute. Gamble made a nice play on it just in case, but Martinez will go back to first base. Hernandez will come back to the plate. For Cahill, he too has worked up through 2 divisions, 9 and 4, 266 earned run average, 122 strikeouts in 108 innings, and only 41 walks.
Really good stuff, and ran into his agent representative yesterday, and he said how excited Trevor was to be able to participate in this game. Still such a young guy. You know, so many young players at the AA, AAA level, 20, 21 years old, and you know they're playing with guys might be 5 years, 6 years older than them.
1-2 delivery on the way, and he got him. Chased that one, so Cahill has a good inning with a couple of strikeouts in it. No runs, 1 hit, and a base runner left on. The World on top as they picked up the run in the first inning. Brian Cashman in charge of the Yankee operation, their GM. We'll talk with him when we come back.
Commercial-free music channels. Here's an XM Music moment.
Still a 1-0 lead for the World team as we move along here in the 2008 Futures game. Part of that talented outfield we were talking about in the pregame show is standing by with Lisa Winston. It's Phillies prospect Greg Golson.
I'm here with Greg Golson. It's one of the first-round draft picks that are here playing for the U.S. team. And Greg, first thing I got to ask is the starting pitcher for the World team, Carlos Carrasco. You have a little bit of experience with him. Never gotten to face him. What would you have liked to have had a chance to step in there and face your teammate?
Yeah, of course. You know, bragging rights. I'm trying to learn Spanish right now. I got the Rosetta Stone thing going, so he's helping me out. So we had an agreement going. If he'd throw me one fastball, if I hit it to right field, try not to hit a home run.
Now we've got 4 members of the Reading Phillies here. I mean, what were your guys' reactions when you all found out you were going to be coming and kind of bringing the Philly love here?
It made the season go by a little bit better, you know, in that we had 4 guys coming here. We still got to be back tomorrow for a 12 o'clock game, so we're going to be a little tired tomorrow. But it's definitely an honor knowing our organization's doing the right things.
Have you been to Yankee Stadium before? Is this your first time here?
I've never been to New York, to tell you the truth. So both of these things have been, you know, a big experience for me. So I haven't really, 2 days isn't enough to see all of New York, but Yankee Stadium is enough for me right now.
What have you seen, if anything, before you got here today?
We drove by Times Square for about 3 seconds earlier yesterday, but most part, I'm from Austin, which is not by any means a big city, but New York is crazy. I mean, keep driving and keep seeing buildings that are bigger than all the buildings in Austin, so that's crazy for me.
And finally, I mean, I never get sick of this question. What does it mean to you to be sitting here at Yankee Stadium wearing USA on your uniform?
I mean, it still hadn't really hit me. That's how big it is. Usually takes a long time for me to, realize things like that. I'll probably realize it tonight after the game's over or something. But it's definitely an honor. I know that much. Just being on this team on this level with this many great players, it's an honor for me.
Thank you so much, Greg. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking time to do it.
No, I'm happy to be here.
What do you look at in this game, Brian, as far as these young players are concerned?
I got a scouting team here kind of backing me up, so I get just get a chance to browse the notebook they put together for me about the profiles that we have already formed on these players, and I get a chance to see, the actual players and see how they match up in a few obviously single moments over the course of this day. But it's a great opportunity for the collection of executives and scouting personnel here to see a group of the next generation. And some of these guys are certainly going to be the real deal.
Brian, last year, Jabba Chamberlain participated for the U.S. team in the All-Star Futures game. And talk about his development from where he was last year at that time to where he is right now.
You know what? I kind of always reference you have a development program, but players ultimately move themselves. And obviously, in Jabba's case, he's far exceeded the developmental program. His abilities just stood so much above and beyond everybody else's. So, he's just an exceptional person ability-wise, and with his fastball command, his slider is probably the best in all of baseball. And obviously, it's been a long, noisy road for a guy like that because he burst on the major league scene as the bullpen, but we saw him as a starter, and transitioning back to the rotation was a lot of noise. So.
To say the least. Nate Scherholz out of the Giants organization will foul that one back. And Poland Trinidad, a left-hander out of the Astros AA club. And the Dominican Republic is now on the mound. There are the numbers for Scherholz.
Now, Brian, you have a young catcher, Jesus Montero, in this game. And just 20 years old or 19 years old. Talk about when developing a young player from Venezuela, Dominican, what has to go into the process for that development?
Well, I'm real proud of the work that Carlos Rios and his staff did when we secured the player, and obviously we stepped up to get him, 2 years ago, and he's now 19 years of age, and he's a big, strong kid that profiles as a future impact bat in the big leagues, and he's a catcher right now, but he's a rather big guy at age 19, so he could eventually grow out of that position. We're gonna have to wait and see, but so far he's, the biggest assessment is obviously getting him. You try to teach plate discipline and things of that nature. He seems to have that already a part of his program, which is fantastic. And but more so, it's his defensive side, and he's already improved, I'd say, at least 50% from where he was as an amateur. And if he keeps improving that way and doesn't explode physically any further, then we'll have a major league frontline catcher on our hands with an offensive weapon with the bat that has power to all fields.
Love that. Here's one of the names we've been talking a lot about. This is Matthew Laporta, who's making the start at first base in this game. Big-time numbers. Before we let you go, Bry, obviously a great loss for the Yankees and for all of baseball. Bobby Mercer's passing away yesterday. A comment from you?
Yeah, it was sad news yesterday, and anybody who had a chance to get to know Bobby Mercer as a player, a coworker, or just a person, I mean, he touched us all in the right way. He showed us, especially after diagnosed with the illness that he had, about how everybody should live their life, and hopefully we learn a great deal from how he approached life on a daily basis. And I certainly hope and pray that people, that side of it rubs off, because this guy shared his love in his life and with everybody, and he was such a good-hearted individual, and anybody who knew him was fortunate to have Bobby a part of their lives. And it's a great loss for the Yankees, a great loss for baseball, but more importantly for his family.
Absolutely. Brian Cashman, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and have a great second half.
Thanks for having me on.
GM of the New York Yankees, and indeed it was a great loss for all of us. This is Matt Laporta, who is up there at the plate. There'll be a lot of that going on during the All-Star festivities here at Yankee Stadium, and I'm sure during the All-Star game itself they will honor him. They had a moment of silence before this game. Laporta's ground ball off the glove at third, as Hughes could not handle that, and ends up in left field. Ramirez up to get it. Laporta will be credited with a single on that, and he is on with one away.
A good at bat by Matt Laporta right there. Got kind of fooled early on a little bit of a change-up, but fought off some pitches, kept himself alive, and then was able to find a hole between short and third to pick up a base hit. A big part of that CC Sabathia deal. The Indians desperately needing offense. Certainly the pitching has been there, and Laporta was a guy they had really cornered in on him. He was the key to the deal getting done, and a big bat coming to the Cleveland Indians.
Now here is Dexter Fowler in the Rockies organization playing at Double-A. Another one of the speedsters in this game, and above average in the outfield. A 14th round pick out of Milton, Georgia. Runner on at first base, and one down. World leading it by a score of 1-0. That one goes down to third. Hughes has got that. DeJesus makes the pivot, and in time to turn the double play. So no runs, one hit, no errors, and nobody left on the first double play we've had. Although Trinidad gets out of that one in a hurry. This is what scouts keep an eye on. How well do you make that throw? How well do you make the pivot and the return throw to first? Good turn of two right there. World up 1-0.
Legends and celebrity softball. The game will feature such baseball.
Defense early on, and also a little bit of an error once or twice as well too. So back and forth, but for the most part, guys swinging at first pitches, some good play back and forth. Still a 1-0 early lead for the World team, Jonathan.
Yeah, and the U.S. finally got on the board, at least with a base hit. Matt Laporta been in the news a lot, just a single. These tend to be more of a pitcher's kind of exhibition. They're going one inning at a time, and the World had a nice sort of mix and match there with Carrasco going kind of electric stuff, and then the lefty Trinidad coming in, slightly softer tossing lefty, and I think it had him a little bit off balance.
All right, down to the field we go. Lisa Winston standing by with Clayton Richard.
I am here with Clayton Richard, the starting pitcher for the U.S. team today. Not enough of an honor to be named to the Futures team, but to be named the starting pitcher. What was your reaction when you found out?
Really excited. I guess that's the best way to put it, is how excited I was. It's a great honor just to put on the USA uniform and then to get the nod to go on the mound first. It's really a great opportunity.
Were you nervous?
A little bit, not as much as I thought. I thought I'd be really nervous coming in here to Yankee Stadium before they moved next door, but I really, I think we handled it pretty well. Pretty confident in our team behind us, so that helped out.
Now, Clayton, do you have experience with the Team USA before, or is this the first time you've put on the uniform?
This is the first time. This is the first time I've represented the country through the sport of baseball.
They did a great job and a great season. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
At the porch, Josh Hamilton, Dan Ugla, Chase Utley, Lance Berkman, Grady Sizemore, Ryan Braun, Evan Longoria, and Justin Morneau. The ultimate long ball competition here at Yankee Stadium. That's 8 o'clock tomorrow night for Home Run Derby. World has a 1-0 lead here. Peter Gammons coming by to join us as he does each season. Peter, always great to see you here, and we know how much time you spend looking at all these youngsters at the minor league level. What do you look for when you get a chance to see these kids playing a game like this?
It's not so much the game as I just like to spend some time with them. I like the certain characteristics. I remember the first time I ever met Grady Sizemore. I remember calling Mark Shapiro on the phone from like the first baseline and saying, "Mark, this guy's incredible. What a personality and what a person." I kind of got the same feeling with Dexter Fowler. He really fascinates me. I mean, not only is he a great tools guy, but what a just tremendous person.
He's an unbelievable tools guy. I mean, he is some good-looking specimen. We saw Matt Laporta, big part of that Cleveland Indians deal. What's your sense of what kind of player he's going to be, Peter?
I think he's going to hit big time. I mean, he's a guy who really applies himself. And when I first saw him playing in the Cape Cod League, he really struggled, and I give him a lot of credit for overcoming adversity. Baseball is such a game of adversity. Went back to Florida, had a great senior year, and you look at with him and Trevor Crow and Wes Hodges coming up in Akron. They have another group of really good young players in Cleveland, and I think Laporta's going to give the Indians the power they really need. I mean, you don't really know what's going to happen with Travis Hafner, and they've been very disappointed in Ryan Garco. So maybe at the end of next year, those three guys are all up in Cleveland and playing.
How much of the development of players in this day and age, Peter's taking place how much earlier than it did in the past for guys who are coming to the majors at a fairly early age?
Well, I think we've seen AAA kind of as like a toll booth going to the big leagues. I mean, they go Double-A, stop at the toll booth, and go on into the big leagues. So the development is coming much faster than it used to.
DeJesus, and an outstanding catch made by Fowler. No sooner talked about than showing up.
Well, that's when we talk about the tools for the players. Then unbelievable speed by Dexter Fowler in center field. Quick reactions, the instincts to be able to read the ball off the bat, and then covering ground. He's playing a very shallow center field. He caught that ball not because of what he did at the end, but because of the first step. Got up to full speed, reacted quickly. He is some kind of athletic specimen.
And absolutely perfect for Coors Field, where you have to have all that range at center field.
Lot of ground to cover in that field. Elvis Andrus up batting second. He has scored the lone run in the ball game. He reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. He is facing Brett Anderson, the left-hander, who's come on to pitch here. The Midland Rockhounds, double-A ball with the A's, as Anderson comes out to get his inning in.
Well, Peter, we saw the Dan Herron deal that the Oakland A's met, and Brett Anderson part of that trade coming from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, we've seen Dana Evelyn, Greg Smith in the major leagues, Carlos Gonzalez in the major leagues. Another part of that, will we look back at that trade and think that no matter what Herron does for the Diamondbacks, it was equally as good for the Oakland A's?
I think we're going to probably see it. I look at it a little bit like the Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell deal, where the Marlins ended up with Hanley Ramirez and a couple more pitchers. I mean, I think that a trade of necessity for both teams. I think it made a lot of sense. Herron could have like 3 or 4 more wins than he's had. They haven't played well for him at all. And, you know, the A's ended up with 5 or 6 prospects, which is pretty remarkable when you think about how much Billy Beanes restocked that organization in terms of pitching in the last year.
You know, I think one thing is interesting. When you make that kind of trade, you get 5 or 6 players. You usually don't hit on all 5 and 6 you bring back. You hope you get 3 or 4. It really looks like, from what we're seeing, that Billy hit on all 6 of those guys.
I think he may have. I mean, we still don't know about the first baseman, but you know that he was looking to completely rebuild his organization with 2 or 3 trades, and basically that's done it. I would be shocked if Sean Gallagher doesn't win more games than Rich Harden over the next 5 years.
Wilkin Ramirez is up. He drew a walk his first time up. The walk to Andrus, who is on at first base with 1 down here in the 3rd inning. Ramirez with the Tigers, a double-A ball. He's out of the Dominican Republic. Doesn't have a real clear position. Still trying to find a place in the field. Runner goes, had him picked off. Throw down to the shortstop covering, and they get the out. Good move made as Anderson got it over there to Laporta, who made the throw to Donald, the shortstop, and they get the out. It'll be a caught stealing.
Very well executed. I like the fact Matt Laporta, who played a lot of outfield in the Milwaukee Brewers organization, shifting back to first base, did exactly what he needed to do. Cut down some distance on the pickoff throw, moving toward the ball, and then cleared himself to the inside part of the base, threw a BB down there, and Jason Donald puts down the tag, and they get him out.
And that's going to be a sharp single into center field. So Ramirez is on, played by Fowler in the outfield, and that'll be hit number 3 for the World team, coming with 2 down here in the 3rd inning.
Number 26, Pablo Sandoval.
Pablo Sandoval, he's got the lone RBI so far in the ball game. He got that one on a fielder's choice his first time up. Double-A with the Giants out of Venezuela, and working on his stuff behind the plate right now. He is a switch hitter, and Peter, those switch hitting catchers are beloved around Major League Baseball.
They certainly are, and you know, we've learned a lesson looking around at catching in the major leagues. Don't give up. I mean, just let guys catch until they can't catch anymore. You know, we've seen 2 or 3 guys emerge in the last couple of years. 3 years ago, they said the minor leagues, oh, they'll never catch in the big leagues, and they've turned out to be pretty decent major league catchers.
Catcher is in that down cycle, I think, among young players, college players even, and even below that. It's not a place where people go to play anymore if you're a kid.
Well, I think the other difficulty is that at the college level, coaches call all the pitches, and so you're not really developing the process for the catcher, where you have to think along with the pitcher to make decisions about how to attack a certain hitter. And I think that a lot of times what you find in professional baseball is when you sign a catcher, it takes some time. Now, some programs a little bit different than others, and some catchers do develop, but for the most part, you've got a learning curve fairly substantial for a catcher coming out of either high school or college.
Got a 2-strike count, 2 down. Runner goes. He's done it again. Donald's getting a workout, and that time not even close. So Ramirez taken out. 2 caught stealings in the inning. Faced only 3, even though there was a walk and a single. Nobody left on base. The World on top 1-0.
It remains a 1-0 lead for the World Team over Team USA. Vinny McCucci along with Jonathan Mayo with you. And how about that, Brett Anderson? Well, the inning had a couple of hits and also evolved into some good defense behind him, which we'll get into in a moment. But clearly the lefty is deceptive on the mound, Jonathan.
Yeah, evidently if you're on base and he's on the mound, you want to pretty much stay anchored to first base. He picked off 2 guys. It's a big part of a lefty's game, and he's a very smart pitcher. His dad was a big-time college coach and came out of high school as a guy who sort of pitched more like a college lefty, and that's why he's in Double-A at the young age that he is.
And he's also the second straight pitcher with the A's organization out of Midland, following up with Trevor Cahill.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair. Cahill, at least, is an original A. You know, he was drafted by the Oakland organization. Brett Anderson came from Arizona in the Dan Herron trade, and they keep adding pitchers like that. We'll see Henry Rodriguez probably from the World Team at some point in the not-too-distant future, another original A, and they're just stockpiling the arms, and that's a way to have continued success when you're a smaller market team.
All right, and lastly, we talked about the great defense that was going on behind Anderson. Well, Dexter Fowler flashed the leather a little bit to Jesus, a sharp line drive into deep center field. Fowler came through with a tremendous catch out in the outfield.
Yeah, and this is a guy, as we said at the top of the show, already could play a big league center field. Long legs. He doesn't look like he's moving necessarily, but can cover a ton of ground defensively and speed-wise. He's ready for the big leagues, and he showed why right there, making that tremendous grab, full wingspan on that one to make a terrific catch to keep the U.S. team out of any kind of trouble.
All right, so it's a 1-0 lead as of the moment. The World Team is out in front. We're seeing some good early pitching, also a couple of pickoffs there that inning, but some good defensive plays going on behind the pitchers as well. Low scoring here in the early part of this game. Here in New York, 1-0 World. Back to the broadcast we go.
Goodyear, get there on Goodyear tires with carbon fiber. What a great day to be up in the blimp here over New York City. What a great day to be on the mound. One of those. Cahill just finished up. Let's get down to Aaron.
All right, Gary, thanks so much. Trevor, you had a chance to actually sit here as a fan in Yankee Stadium in the 3rd, 4th grade, you said. 20 years old out there pitching on the mound. What was that like?
It's a lot different on the field. Looking around, I just took a moment, just looked up, and I'm like, wow, like all my dreams are coming true. So, it was an awesome feeling.
That's great. Any specific area that you wanted to visit when you were here as a player today?
Not really. Playing on the field is something, so, I'm happy.
You guys are only in there for just a short amount of time, really, and only a half inning. So what's your mindset when you get out on the mound?
I guess just give it all you got. Us starters, they're used to going 7 innings, hopefully. 1 inning, it's there and it's done, so it's tough.
Things going really well for you in Oakland's system right now. You started the season in high Class A, promoted to Double-A. What's been going right for you?
Just everything. I think the biggest thing is throwing strikes, and I guess everybody's got the stuff. That's why you get drafted, and if whoever makes the most of it. I've been lucky so far.
Cool. Thanks for visiting with us. All right, Gary.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. Hector Rondon, the right-handed pitcher, working high Class A ball with the Indians, is on the mound out of Venezuela. Only 20 years old. Gets about a strikeout an inning. He's got a loose arm, as you can see, and pitch to Lou Marson, who's getting his first at bat. He's doing the catching.
Well, you see Rondon's numbers right there. 93 innings, only 88 hits, 101 strikeouts. No fear of pitching inside. 6'3", 170 pounds. Well, when scouts evaluate players, they look at their current stuff, and then they say, all right, well, how can he get better? Sometimes it's adjusting mechanics. Sometimes it's physical growth. He has what scouts call a projectable body. 6'3", 170. He's going to fill out, get stronger, and that may mean more velocity on the fastball.
2-2 delivery will be taken inside. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Gary Thorne, Steve Phillips, Peter Gammons here with you. And Peter, one of the things I was interested to hear Steve say, not afraid to throw inside. In this day and age, you don't say that very often anymore in Major League Baseball.
No, because if you hit somebody, they immediately get warnings from both sides. You have so many hitters that dive into balls today. Pitchers have a tremendous disadvantage. The whole notion that you pitch inside, you hit somebody accidentally, well, then there's a warning given, and somebody else gets hit, and the game has been taken away from pitchers.
So I think one of the other things in development is that for college kids, where you're playing against hitters with an aluminum bat, sometimes you don't want to pitch inside because you tend to give up a base hit if you go in there, even if because you're not breaking the bat. A lot of times the young Hispanic kids, because they're not playing with the aluminum bat, they don't have that same kind of fear early on.
De Jesus makes the play. Lou Marson is retired on the ground ball out, one away here in the 3rd inning. Jason Donald will be coming up. Peter, how about a comment on the Olympic team we've been talking about. Davey Johnson's going to manage it. Many of these players on this U.S. team are here for a final look-see. Many will make the team. Major League Baseball teams, a number of them, though, have held back players, saying we do not want them on the Olympic team because we're going to use them in the second half of the season, or we don't want to risk injuries, there's too much money. Where is all that?
Well, I mean, the problem is timing of the Olympics. If you're a club and you think you may be using this guy in September, you're not going to give him the Olympic. You don't want him over there playing in China when they might need him in the major leagues, and that's the problem. I mean, if there was a case of Michael Bowden pitching in Double-A with Boston, who's the best pitcher in the Eastern League, and they wanted him on Team USA. Well, the Red Sox might need him in September, and they do have to say to their fans, for $125 a ticket, you got to say, you know what, we got to have our best players in the field.
The delivery to Jason Donald. He will foul that one back. I don't know if Jason is keenly aware of it, but he knows he is one of the guys on this team that they are taking a very close look at today. Tonight they're going to meet and whittle this thing down for the USA Olympic team tonight. And this is one of the players who's still on that so-called bubble. He shatters the bat on that one. Play as Rondon got over and gets him out of there, and there are two down. Of course, the Olympics have changed going in so many ways. I mean, it used to be, especially from the USA, that it was amateurs, and you put quotations around that in decades gone by that went. You see what has happened in baseball-wise. There are the results, the managers who worked with those teams, the gold that came in '88. Rod Dato got one in '84, a silver. There was a demonstration sport in other years, and now baseball, as Davey Johnson said, has become so popular around the world. The competition's so tough, and as Steve mentioned, most of the countries are sending their best professional baseball players.
Oh, absolutely. We saw in the World Baseball Classic when the United States was sending their best major leaguers. I mean, Japan won it. Korea got into the semifinals. I mean, it's not easy, and the Cubans are they're not as good as they used to be, but they're still very good. But I mean, if you're getting as many good Major League Japanese players as it looks like we're getting, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because their Major League season is going on simultaneous to ours, but they're willing to give up their two best players off of all 12 teams to put a roster together. We're not willing to do that here, and yet if the U.S. team doesn't prevail and win a medal or win a gold medal, there will be some here saying, well, what are we doing? We're not good enough. We got to be better. Well, we're holding back players, but yet from a general manager's perspective, I get it. I wouldn't want to give up my best prospects who may help my major league team sometime this year. I wouldn't want to give it up either because my job's on the line, so I understand it.
Yep. And it's why we're talking about it, but you don't hear a lot of talk about it because Major League Baseball doesn't want it talked about. They don't want to look like unpatriotic, and I use that term very loosely because it hasn't got anything to do with that. And the teams don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be seen as one of those that held back on a player that should have been on the Olympic team. So it's kind of a balancing act that goes on around Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's very difficult for some of the owners, some of the general managers, but it's only common sense. And again, the idea of winning the Olympics is terrific, but
that one deep into the corner, Peter. Could it be? Oh, foul ball. He wasn't even going to run till he knew where that thing had gone, because if it was going to leave Yankee Stadium, McCutchen wanted to be sure he saw it leaving the ballpark.
Well, this is a young guy we talked about in the Open, 21 years old, playing at the AAA level, future center fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and because of where he is in his development, they're talking about trading Jason Bay or Xavier Nady.
That one he takes in the air to left, but that one came off the end of the bat. Ramirez will move in and put it away. And that will retire the side as McCutchen's out of there. 1-2-3 inning for Hector Rondon.
A moment ago, we chatted about that talented combination out of Midland in the A's organization with Brett Anderson and, of course, Trevor Cahill. Well, Trevor's standing by with Lisa Winston in front of the U.S. dugout.
That is right. Trevor was the second pitcher on the day here for the U.S. team. And Trevor, one thing I've been talking to some of the players about is for a lot of them, it's their first visit to Yankee Stadium, the impressions they're having, the experience. Rumor has it you've been here once before, and I was hoping you could tell us that story.
Well, I was really young. It was like fourth grade. We were visiting New York with family, and just
had to see a game, so came here.
So who did you come here with?
My mom and my little brother.
You have any indication at that time that, you know, maybe someday you might be coming back here? Maybe told your mom about it?
I mean, I was just like every other little kid. I wanted to play Major League Baseball, so I mean, in my head, I knew I was going to come back, but I mean, chances were it didn't work out, but I mean, it has so far, and I got to play here today, so that's awesome.
So is your mom here in the stands today?
Oh yeah, she made the trip.
So she wasn't going to miss this for anything. Were you nervous when you took the mound out there, or was it kind of all in a day's work? You seem a pretty cool customer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm a pretty relaxed guy, I guess. I try to just stay calm. I think my body kind of knew what was going on. I was kind of shaking a little bit, but my head, I didn't like get nervous at all.
Well, congratulations, great first half of the season. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Baseball All-Star Game. Well, you can catch all the action live from New York coming your way on Tuesday. Coverage will begin at 7 o'clock, and this one counts. Home field, World Series is what's at stake again. The All-Star Game from New York. And we're changing pitchers, of course, every inning here. This is just Todd. He is a right-hander, Cardinals organization, pitching with the Springfield Cardinals at Double-A ball.
Take a look at those numbers. 101 innings pitched, 69 hits. Not an overpowering guy, but he runs the fastball in on the hands, can explode it in on the left-hander. He's got a chance to face a pretty big left-hander here right now in Sandoval.
And Taylor Teagarden has come on to do the catching. We have a new battery here, as both of these managers want to get as much playing time as they can in for the players, position players in particular. 25-man rosters for each of these teams, and the pitchers getting to work an inning, and as the game goes along, maybe even less than that. Pablo Sandoval will stand in. Sandoval will take it outside, as Sandoval has picked up the RBI on the first inning. Fielder's choice. He was standing at the plate in the third inning when there were two caught stealings in the inning, one after a walk and one after a single, so he never got to finish his at bat.
I actually kind of like that approach. I mean, get them on and then pick them off.
You don't have to throw as hard.
It works.
Just a lob toss over and you got him out of there. Not particularly planned that way, I don't think, but sometimes it works. Sandoval will take the pitch outside, and it goes to 3-0.
You know, Peter, I want to get a sense from you. You meet a lot of players. You know, at the major league level, you meet them in the Cape Cod League, you meet them in the minor leagues. What's your sense of how much character and makeup come into play for those guys who end up succeeding?
I think it's a huge part of it. And I'll give you an example. I remember getting the picture from the Little League when Sean Burroughs was the Little League MVP, they won the Little League World Series. They had a skinny second baseman on that team named Chase Utley. Burroughs was the 9th pick in the draft. Chase Utley didn't get drafted going to UCLA. Chase Utley might be the MVP in the National League, and Sean's out of baseball. I mean, makeup, and Sean is a great kid, but just didn't have a baseball makeup. And it's a classic example of just a guy like Utley who just willed himself to be an extraordinary player.
Great to have you with us as you enjoy this look at the future in Major League Baseball, as these are the future stars of the game playing here at Yankee Stadium. 10th season. U.S. has a 5-4 edge in the previous 9 games played, and they generally have all been tight games. This is Luke Hughes at the plate, swung on and missed. Runner at first, nobody out. He flied to center his first time up. He is with the Twins playing a Double-A ball at New Britain Rock, and he's got, as we said, a start in April that just dwarfed everybody else in the minors. He hit .354 in 99 at-bats in the month of April. Big slugging, big on-base percentage. Taken down low, and that'll fall to a 1-ball, 2-strike count with just Todd on the mound here and struggling to find the strike zone. Pitchers, Peter, very tough in this ball game for them to do a whole lot with just one inning. Huh?
Exactly, and it's also hard for hitters to adjust them. You get one look at them, and most of these guys have really good arms. So you have that adjustment, and you know you need a couple of at-bats before you hit most of these guys if they're throwing 92 to 95 miles an hour.
Now, most of these pitchers are starters during their regular season, so coming here to pitch 1 inning in more of a relief situation, that's why I kind of like what the American League team did, Terry Francona, with going 6 closers on his roster in the All-Star game.
Then the discussion about, do you start one of those closers so you don't have the Red Sox-Yankee problem at the end?
A guy named Rivera.
Yeah,
do you want him on the mound in the 9th? Do you want him on the mound in the 1st?
You want him on the mound in the 9th.
Yeah, I guess my tendency is to let this place be deafening in the 1st inning, let him walk to the mound. But
runner goes 3-2, fouled off. That will bring Sandoval back.
Because if they're down 6-3, does he ever get the pitch? And it's the last All-Star game in this ballpark. I just think Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer in Yankee history, if not in the history of baseball. It'd be fitting for him to go out, walk out to the mound in the 1st inning.
You think Terry might pull that as a surprise for the All-Star game? 3-2 delivery, runner going again, swung on and missed, strike him out, throw him out, double play. Relatively easy on that one. Teagarden making the throw down. Pennington, the second baseman, with the tag.
Now they're running on the 3-2 count. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. So the runner doesn't want to get picked off, but Teagarden, quick feet, quick release, and a very strong, accurate throw. Pennington puts the tag on and gets Sandoval, but outstanding throw by Teagarden.
Had a lot of speedsters we've talked about in this game, but so far they haven't been able to get by the pitchers on pickoff moves or the catchers on their throws. Strike taken on the outside corner. This is Scott Campbell. Campbell flied out to left field his first time up. Campbell, Double-A, Blue Jays organization, New Hampshire Fisher Cats team that he's playing with. He is a New Zealander. He's only the 2nd New Zealander to play in a Futures game. The other one was Travis Wilson, who was with the Atlanta Braves organization. Breaking ball is going to miss inside to Campbell. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Travis, unfortunately, was better at cricket. Yeah. He was great. He's one of the funniest guys. He had great hand-eye coordination. He just could not recognize pitches. And once he got around the league, the 2nd time, each level, things sort of slacked off. There was a time when he looked like he might be a pretty good hitter, but it's a little different when you're bowling than when you're seeing a breaking ball.
Well, Campbell talked about how tough, because there's no real leagues to play in down in New Zealand. So he fell in love with the game, went to kind of a children's baseball fair in Japan and learned about the game. But where do you play? I mean, it's tough.
I like the sign. He says Kiwis don't play baseball. A 3 ball, 2 strike count on him. Nobody on, 1-0 lead, dominated by defense and pitching so far. The world 1-3-0, USA 0-1-1. And the delivery will be chopped to short. Donald is there, makes the running throw over to first base and gets the out. Peter, thanks for coming up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Have a good time Sunday Night Baseball at Shea.
I definitely will.
Okay. All right. The world on top in this one by a score of 1-0 from Yankee Stadium.
Jesse Todd works his way through a successful half inning for the U.S. team. Still a 1-0 lead for the world team over the USA. As we move to the bottom half of the 4th inning of play, we swing things down to the U.S. dugout. Brett Anderson's with Lisa Winston. Anderson, of course, is the other pitcher involved in the trio, the duo of Oakland A's pitchers that we were talking about earlier. Trevor Cahill was the original pitcher. Now we go down to Brett Anderson with Lisa Winston.
We've got the Oakland double play there. We got Cahill. Now we got here with Brett Anderson. And Brett, I've got to ask you the first question. Is this your first time at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, first time in New York City, first time at Yankee Stadium. Awesome experience playing in front of a crowd in one of the last few games at Yankee Stadium.
Now, you moved up from the California League from Stockton to Double-A. What's been the biggest adjustment for you there so far?
You know, there hasn't really been too big of an adjustment. Just go out there and if you throw strikes and get ahead of the hitters, and, you know, things are still the same. It's still the same game. You know, just go out and get ahead of guys.
Do you have friends, family here with you today?
Yeah, my family actually drove out from Oklahoma, making a whole trip out of it. So they're out here, and you know they got to saw me pitch at Yankee Stadium, so it's pretty awesome.
Now, one thing, I know you got traded in the offseason. You were part of that Herron deal, one of the top prospects in the Arizona organization. Do you feel that having been traded for a superstar like that, more eyes were on you and during the first half of the season?
A little bit, you know, because you're traded for a Cy Young candidate, so you know naturally more eyes are going to be on you, and especially with some of the other guys that are involved in the trade. But you know, it's fun. You just got to go out there and play.
So, how's it feel getting out there with USA on your uniform top?
You know, it wasn't the cleanest inning, but I'll go out there and take a 0 for the Futures game, and it was awesome representing my country.
Terrific. Congratulations, Brett. Thank you.
XM All-Star Futures Game. Brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Be a little twisted.
I want to remind you, Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell on ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern Time from Shea tonight. The Rockies are in town taking on the Mets. How about those Mets? A half game out of first place in the National League East. And they've got an 8-game win streak. Coverage will begin with baseball tonight, driven by Chevy at 7 Eastern. Mark Redmond and Mike Pelfrey, by the way, are the scheduled starters. And there is Shea. You come across Manhattan and you end up at Yankee Stadium. And here is Eddie Moreland on the pitch for the World Team.
Well, the Tampa Bay Rays organization came over in the deal this past offseason for the Minnesota Twins that brought Jason Bartlett, Matt Garza, sent Delman Young to the Twins. Cuban defector.
Cliff Pennington is going to lead it off for USA, down 1-0. That one's going to be squibbed off the end of the bat. Pennington's totals 269 with a couple of organizations. He's had 2 home runs, 29 RBIs. As he's moving up, as many of these young players have in the minors this season. That pitch is taken away, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Moreland's an interesting story. The family wanted to get out of Cuba, so went on a vacation to Spain to visit relatives and just never went back. Made their way to Spain and then to the Dominican Republic.
That's why Cuba has had such a drop-off, if you will, in the international baseball scene. They've lost so many players who have defected.
And they have. I think, his defection a little bit different. At 12 years old is when he actually left and found his way to the States and actually was drafted out of high school in Florida by the Twins organization.
Moreland way up high with that pitch, and Pennington gets the count evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. USA has had only 1 hit. Matt Laporta got a single in the 2nd inning. Couple of base runners the other via a walk. But the pitchers have dominated here, and as Peter said, it is really tough when you get a new pitcher coming on every inning. These hitters don't even see all the pitchers, much less anybody twice. So you've got some quick adjustments to make and trying to put the bat on the ball. Moreland's delivery. Pennington will put that one down the left side, maybe fair. Nope, it'll be in foul territory. But Andrus makes the catch, and we're talking about the Kiwis. Let's get down to Aaron.
That's right. Second baseman Scott Campbell joining me right now. We've mentioned throughout this game you're from New Zealand, and you played everything under the sun. Cricket, soccer, rugby. But how did you find out about baseball?
Well, my mom actually found an advertisement in the paper, and I'd heard of baseball before, but wasn't sure what it was all about, and so I thought, hey, why not give it a go? And I love the game, so here I am.
ESPN execs will love this. He actually used to miss school to watch Sunday night baseball over in New Zealand. When did you know this was your first love, baseball?
After my first year, I got to go to Japan for the World Children's Baseball Fair, and met Joe DiMaggio and Hank Aaron, and found out what baseball was really like. And I knew it was a game that I wanted to play, and pretty much after then I've been in love with the game and knew that I was going to come to the States to play with a college professional or whatever. So,
what was your thoughts today when you walked out onto the field the first time?
Wow, yeah, this is awesome. It's probably the best baseball experience I've ever had so far.
And your mom is back in New Zealand, 4 a.m. right now, guys. She's watching us.
Yeah, mom's back home. Just want to say hey, and to everyone else back in New Zealand watching, thanks for watching.
Thank you so much. Gary, back to you.
That's great. Great story.
Really
I saw a newspaper
story.
ad, so I thought I'd play baseball.
It's that easy, right?
It's that easy. Well, they're looking for players. It's like out of a softball league that's advertising for someone to come play.
Well, I'll tell you, he put a lot of hard work in. Came over to the States, went to junior college, and got to a university, got drafted out of there. Nice job.
Matthew Gammell will take the pitch down low. He is on with a free pass. That comes with 1 away. He's drawn 2 walks now in the ball game as Moreland puts him on with 1 down. And D'Antonia will be coming to the plate. 10th year of this All-Star Futures game, and we showed you the names of those players, 51 of whom have moved on to play in a Major League Baseball All-Star game. That's a very big number. So the players you're getting to see here are indeed those, in all likelihood, you're going to see in your favorite Major League ball club at some point in the future. Jamie D'Antonia, strikeout victim, his first time up. D'Antonia, AAA Diamondbacks. Played at Wake Forest, National College Freshman Baseball Player of the Year his first season at Wake Forest.
popping his bat, the guy that is at the AAA level and waiting for that call, either to represent his country or to get a chance to play in the major leagues.
He is DHing today. He has made starts as a catcher, a first baseman, and a third baseman, playing for the Tucson Sidewinders. That's a sidewinder right there that misses on a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
You know, it's a game like this that really reminds us of how important foreign-born players are to our game today. I mean, 28% of all major league players are foreign-born players. In this year's group of all-stars, almost 35% of them are foreign-born players. So, you know, baseball really needs the world for its game here in the States.
Good play down at first base by Sandoval to block it. Well, no question. I mean, scouting now, it takes place, obviously, it takes place all over the world. You see the foreign-born players involved, the major league rosters. All-stars, foreign-born, 35%, 48% of minor leaguers born outside the United States, and that number continues to grow each year as more players come to the U.S. Fooled him with an off-speed delivery inside, but it missed. D'Antonio takes it, and a 3-ball, 1-strike count.
You know, and the thing that points out is scouting is colorblind. Doesn't care what language you speak, what color your skin is, or anything else. If you can play, scouts are going to try to find you and bring you here to the United States to try to make it to the major leagues. It points out the fact there are less options for players here in the States.
Takes that one for a strike. Thought he might have had a walk on that, and the count will go to 3-2 as Moreland battles back on him here. D'Antonio with a runner on at first base. Gammons had taken off once. Has not extended the lead. Sandoval holding on him. Runner does not go, and a good breaking ball swung on and missed. Moreland gets the strikeout.
Very impressive, going on a 3-2 slider right there from Moreland, and gets a veteran hitter at the AAA level out in D'Antonio. So a nice pitch by the kid.
Yankee Stadium closing up here this year, and going to the new Yankee Stadium will be all of Monument Park. The monuments out there to the great former Yankees, players, management people, managers. That is all going to be moved across the street and placed in its original position in center field at the new Yankee Stadium. At one time, of course, Monument Park actually was in play at Yankee Stadium. There are the two. That's a live shot. The old Yankee Stadium on the right and the new one on the left. Many of the features the same. Seating will be almost exactly the same. The fresco, which everyone knows about on the outfield wall that's become infamous with home run hitters, will remain, and the dimensions on the field are going to remain much the same. So, but it'll be all new. I mean, there'll be all kinds of luxury boxes, and all of the amenities that go with Major League Baseball in this day and age will be there. And yes, there'll be a short porch, 314 down the right field line, just like it is now. Scher holds up, 1-0 delivery to him. He puts that one high in the air to right. Wind is actually blowing towards left field. We'll hold that ball up a little bit. Hernandez is out there to put it away. No runs, a walk, and a base runner left on. The world is on top, and the world this season taking a final look at these monuments in their original home at Yankee Stadium.
Along with Jonathan Mayo, Vinny Micucci, as we have played 4 innings so far, the 2008 Futures game here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, and it's a 1-0 lead for the world team. Jonathan, so far what we've seen is the offense has both been held at check so far. We talked to the pregame show about how powerful each of the offenses can be, but so far the pitching has stood up.
And more often than not in these games, the pitching is going to win in any all-star game because these guys are only going 1 inning at a time. You're not really going to get a whole lot of offense. You know, last year there was actually a little bit more offense than there's been. You know, there's still a long way to go. All it takes is 1 or 2 swings. You know, a hanging slider from one of the pitchers to get things going and get the crowd into this a little bit more.
Now, at the same time, we saw twice on an occasion where there were caught stealings or pickoff moves. Tino Martinez, the manager of the world team, trying to get things started a little bit with a couple of hit-and-run plays. It might get to that point in the game where we might start to see a couple of different things in order to generate some runs.
Well, Tino Martinez had said yesterday, actually, that he was going to have guys in motion, let guys steal some bases. Obviously, Pablo Sandoval, not one of the guys who's going to just get the green light. That was a hit-and-run play that was busted when Luke Hughes swung through that pitch. So it didn't work out. But yeah, in a tight game like this, there's not a whole lot of offense. There may not be. You might have to have some plays like that work for one team to come out victorious.
All right, so the combination, the Australian-New Zealand combination of Campbell and Hughes unable to get a hit the last time through. The World will get yet another chance. We move to the top half of the 5th inning of play. It's a 1-0 lead for the World over Team USA. Back to the broadcast we go.
Welcome you back to the XM All-Star Futures game at Yankee Stadium. Jerry Thorne, Steve Phillips, and guests who are kind enough to give us a bit of their time here today with all of the scouts and the executives who are on hand to take a look at these young players. The World on top by a score of 1-0, with USA picking up only 1 hit so far in the ball game. Every single one of them loving it. Doug Melvin joining us downstairs, watching what's going on, and as we ask of all of the executive and the scouts who are involved, what is it you want to see in this ball game? What do you come for in particular watching these kids play, Doug?
Well, I enjoy coming and watching the batting practice. We were here early this morning at 9 o'clock watching infield. You know, some of the players I've seen in my tours of our own minor league system, but just to see the physical skills of the players, even though it's a short look, you get a chance to see them, the physicality of a player, and you know, eventually you'll see a bunch of these players in the big leagues and that, but it's enjoyable. I've always come to the Futures game. I've always enjoyed it, and there's a fair amount of scouts here that'll come in just for this game and won't stay for the other game. But you know, I've come from a player development and scouting background, so I do enjoy this all the time.
Doug, we look out on the field and look at the corners in the infield.
Yeah.
And you've got Matt Laporta at first base, Matt Gammons at third. You traded Laporta in the deal to land CC Sabathia. And certainly we understand why you want Sabathia, but how difficult was it for you to consider giving up some of your young players, being a smaller market club?
Yeah, that's difficult. That wasn't an easy trade to make, and even though we brought a Cy Young winner in Sabathia, we probably, as I told someone earlier, we probably would have been more difficult to make the trade if Ryan Braun would not have made the transition to left field. But when Braun made the transition to left field, you know, he became an all-star left fielder in 1 year. And Corey Hart, playing right field for us, got voted in by the fans, and he's an all-star right fielder. And then Prince Fielder at first base is pretty secure at his position. So with Matt Laporta, who's a first baseman, left fielder, right fielder, we felt that if we were able to make the trade, that we could possibly, with risk involved, include Matt Laporta and keep Matt Gammons, and we got a young kid, Alcides Escobar, a shortstop, and some other prospects. But we felt that we were dealing from a point of depth, because Braun and Hart and Fielder, you know, the three of them are still young players. They're 25, 26 years of age.
That one's foul back, one away here, Doug, as Wellington Castillo is doing the catching. A strikeout victim is at the plate. We're looking at Will Inman, a right-hander with the Double-A Padres organization, the San Antonio Missions. 21-year-old Inman on the mound and doing the pitching.
And I traded him last year for Scott Linebrink.
Yeah. You got all kinds of
They're everywhere.
So I know it's tough to trade these young players and that, but the Brewers have had such a long drought of going to postseason that we're willing to take some risk, and I have a lot of confidence in our scouting director, Jack Zarinzik, our director of player development, Reed Nichols, and that they'll find some more young players that we need to build around.
Doug, we see Matt Gammons at third base, and obviously he can swing the bat. Defense has been an issue for him. 53 errors last year in about 128 games. How is he progressing, and can he stay at third base?
Well, we have Garth Orge, former Blue Jay player, a roving minor league infield instructor, and Garth's very confident. We ask that question about every week to 2 weeks, and he's very confident that he can stay there. The one thing is Matt will work extremely hard at it. His hands are pretty good. He's got soft hands. Most of his errors have been a little bit with the throwing, and a lot of times the throwing mechanics are a result of, you know, their feet and how quick their feet and getting their feet in a good throwing position. And Steve, you'd be able to answer to that, I'm sure, being a former infielder. But you know, he puts up such good numbers. He's got a good eye at the plate. He's left-handed. He fits all the criteria we're looking for a player at the big league level that we need. and we're hoping that we can keep him there. And I know it's tougher once you get to the big leagues because there is such a focus. There was a focus on Braun last year when he came up and made a few errors. The focus is on the defense. So you're going to have to hit a lot to make up for some of the errors, but we feel he'll improve over a course of time.
Good play made right there by Inman in a 1-2-3 inning. And Doug Melvin, we thank you for joining us. Great luck with the Brewers in the second half. Thanks a million.
Thank you.
World on top by a score of 1-0.
And the middle half of the fifth inning of play, 4 total hits and a 1-0 lead right now for the World team over the USA team. And now, so far, Jonathan, what we've seen a lot of is pitching. But Will Inman comes in out of the Padres system that half inning, and it's bad enough that he's dealing and he's keeping the opposing hitters at bay once again, but even a little flash of defense by him at the mound. It seems as if everything's going the pitcher's way.
Well, and he's a tremendous athlete. You know, a guy who's a little bit smaller, and, you know, his stuff is actually pretty good. People look at him and think maybe he doesn't throw that hard. This is a guy who left his high school as the state all-time leader in strikeouts. As I said, he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, a guy who really wants to prove people wrong. He knew he was going to have an inning out here. He could just sort of let it go. You'll see a lot of pitchers, if you check radar gun readings, probably a tick or two above what you would normally see in an average Texas League start because he knows he's one and done.
What we've seen so far has been a lot of pitching, but at some point, either the U.S. team's going to need to come through or this is going to be one heck of a 1-0 finish for a World win. Are you expecting the offense at some point to kind of bust through here with the amount of talent that we've seen? Even you have kind of indicated in between innings here, a couple of players that you thought might have got on the board have been held quiet so far.
Yeah, so far. And I think there's a chance, one guy, one swing of the bat, even against a great pitcher. I'd love to see a guy come in and challenge a good fastball hitter with a good fastball. Why not on a stage like this? And occasionally the hitter is going to win out. It could be a 1-0 game, and I don't envy the people who have to choose the MVP of a game like this. Maybe you just give it to the entire pitching staff.
The bottom of the fifth is coming your way. It's a 1-0 lead right now for the World team over Team USA. We go back to the broadcast.
The road from elite prospect to impact major leaguer seems to be getting shorter and shorter with every passing season. As you look to last year's Futures game as just an example, more than a few who played in that game in San Francisco have already become familiar names at the major league level, and in fact have become some of the brightest stars of the game. So it doesn't take very long. The notables from the 07 Futures who are already having an impact. I mean, those are some pretty big names in Major League Baseball.
Well, it points to the fact that the difference between minor league players and major league players isn't how hard they throw or how far they can hit it or how fast they can run. It's the consistency of performance that's the difference. And listen, for some guys it happens at a quicker pace than others. For this group right here, clearly it's happened very quickly.
And our new pitcher will be with the AA Royals organization, the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. This is Julio Pimentel on the mound, and there are the numbers he has put up this season.
Has an outstanding curveball. That's his breaking pitch to watch here. Command of the fastball at times can get away. So he tries to keep that front shoulder closed in his delivery.
And he will go against Matthew Laporta. Laporta, who has had the only hit for USA, a single, chops that one right out in front. Pimentel up with it, makes the throw to first. Hang on if you're at first base. It was a 90-mile-an-hour sinker.
Well, you know what? You're always getting evaluated, even when you throw it to first. So, who knows? Maybe there's a scout with a radar gun down the line because he clocked that one at about 95.
Yikes.
Come off the mound, get a little bit excited. It's Yankee Stadium. Gas to first base.
Angel Villalona just came on to play at first base. He hadn't even had time to take a look around Yankee Stadium. And he gets a sinking fastball coming over to him. One away. Here is Dexter Fowler. Fowler hit into a double play his first time up. Speed delivery. It's a nice changeup right there. Swung on and missed.
Take a look at Fowler. Fowler, what a physical specimen he is at the plate. Loose, lanky, projectable body. Going to get stronger.
That ball will be taken to shallow right field and handled as Parra has come on to play in right. His first play, and there are two down here in the fifth inning. As we said, both managers will get in as many of these players as they possibly can. Villalona just came on to play at first base. Francisco's now at third. Pena the shortstop. Saw Parra out there in right field, and Hernandez has moved from right field, over to left. So those are the changes for the World team. First at bat for Taylor Teagarden, as he came on to do the catching earlier in the ball game. He gets his shot, 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, third-round selection. The 24-year-old who has been to a Futures game previously. That one is swung on and missed. Quickly an 0-2 count. For Teagarden, the hope is you play in one of these games really, and that the next time you see it, it's the Major League All-Star game. In the Rangers organization, playing at AAA with the Oklahoma Red Hawks. Big name in Texas baseball. The 05 College World Series championship went to the Texas team that he played for, one of the leaders there. Tommy John surgery slowed his career down, working behind the plate as it is on the mound. You got to have that arm. 1 ball, 2 strike delivery, and foul back again to hold it at 1-2.
He's special though to grow up in Texas and get selected by the Texas Rangers organization. So playing in his hometown state. We already saw him catch and throw a little bit. Try to become a two-way player, improving the batting.
Teagarden will take that one up high. Teagarden has played at a couple of different levels this year. And you saw the overall numbers: 219, 8 home runs, 21 RBIs. After that surgery, it's a comeback. I mean, it's an attempt to get back to where you were. 2-2 delivery on the way, will be taken down low. Pimentel takes the count full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Tommy John surgery is tough on a catcher as well, because so much of your game is about throwing. If you can't throw, you can't catch at the major league level. Remember, Todd Hundley with the Mets went through that surgery.
And he comes back to get a walk. He had fallen behind in the count, so a 2-out walk here in the 5th inning. USA has had 3 total walks from the 5 pitchers that had now been used by the World team. Great to have you with us here at Yankee Stadium. The All-Star festivities underway, as a chance before the All-Star game on Tuesday to take a look at these future stars, along with Steve Phillips, Aaron Andrus, and our guests. I'm Gary Thorne, and happy to have you with us here. Beautiful day in New York, unseasonably mild for this time of July here in the city. Breeze that's been blowing right now. It looks like the right field, if you go by the hot dog wrappers, they're whipping around out there. 2 down. Jason Donald at the plate. Donald grounded out his first time up, and he will take the pitch up high for a ball. The Eastern League Reading Phillies is where he plays. Pimentel trying to get him for the final out.
The USA manager Davey Johnson, one of the first that looked at statistics. He looked at numbers. He had a computer to try to look at on-base percentage, and really is one of the very first statistical-oriented managers.
He said he taught Billy Beane about the numbers to look at, because Billy Beane was playing in the Mets organization at the time Davey was there as a manager. Raleigh Fingers.
Raleigh's getting ready for the celebrity softball game.
1 ball, 1 strike count, 2 away. Jason Donald, Teagarden on at first base. Pimentel's pitch, that's going to be a base hit into left field. The USA gets a couple on with 2 down here in the 3rd inning, and will turn the order over as they go to the top, and we will get a pinch hitter as Greg Golson will come on for McCutchen. Andrew McCutchen had an 0 for 2 in the ball game, playing in left field.
Golson out of the Phillies organization, a guy whose defensive abilities have been ahead of the offense, and really a guy who covers a lot of ground in the outfield. Outstanding defender, but the bat has been the thing that's catching up with the defense.
Golson in the Eastern League hitting .300, 8 homers, 39 RBIs. He's had 260 at-bats, so a pretty good representation. Only 14 walks and 79 strikeouts for him. 0-1 count, 2 on. Golson's ground ball will be fouled off outside of 3rd, and a 2-strike count on the new leadoff hitter for USA.
Now those 14 walks are really the big question about his development offensively, and that plate discipline, the ability to recognize a ball from a strike, a fastball from a curveball. And there are some that believe it's just one of the natural abilities, that it's very difficult to develop that it's really a tool of the game as opposed to a skill of the game.
And the 0-2 delivery to him. Pimentel gets the strikeout. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 are left on base. This time of the year, with this kind of activity around Yankee Stadium, if you're going to come out here, there's only one way to go. Number 4.
And Greg Golson goes down on strikes there, so still it remains a 1-0 lead for the World Squad. Over at Team USA, we played through 5 innings. We go back down to the World Dugout, where Philippe Aumont, Mariners' first-round pick, is with Lisa Winston.
That's right. I'm here with Philippe Aumont, who was the only Canadian player selected to the World Team. Unfortunately, not able to pitch today because of an injury, but still made the trip. Philippe, when did you know that you would not be able to play, and why did you decide to come along for the experience anyway?
I think one of the main guys in the Mariners called me maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, whatever, and he told me he spoke with Major League Baseball, and then they were letting me go, get the trip, but I was not able to pitch. I was not be able to pitch, so it's a little bit disappointing. I would love to pitch in the Yankee Stadium, but we got to take care of my arm first, and then get to come back in the game.
Is this your first trip to New York?
Yeah, it is. It's my first time in New York.
Have you had a chance to kind of see any of the sights, or is this pretty much all you really need when it comes to New York sights, Yankee Stadium?
Oh, I went a little bit, walking down the streets and everything, and then shopping a little bit, and get to see a little bit of the city. It's probably going to be, the only time going to come until, a couple of years from now. So just enjoy it.
Glad you're enjoying it. Nice to see the Team Canada Maple Leaf in here, and thanks for joining us, Philippe. Take care.
Here, get there on Goodyear tires with carbon fiber. As a little of the summer haze settles in to the Empire State Building in New York City, Central Park, Bon Jovi, big concert there last night in conjunction with the All-Star festivities. And the world in the XM All-Star Futures game has a 1-0 lead. That run came in the first inning as Pablo Sandoval got the RBI and a fielder's choice. Jake Arrieta out of the High Class A Orioles organization comes on to do the pitching.
That kid with a big arm, 108 strikeouts in 101 innings. To run that fastball up there, 95, 96 miles per hour. Good secondary stuff. A fast-track pitcher. Had a disappointing year in college. Got drafted in the 5th round. A lot of thoughts he might be a first-round pick, but he has not disappointed since signing for the Baltimore Orioles.
Hitters having a tough time trying to line it up. Ivan De Jesus has had a single and has flied out. Aaron is going to be talking with his dad here in just a moment. His dad gets a chance, and his father's not had a lot of opportunities to watch his son play. There's Ivan De Jesus Sr., and he works in the Chicago Cubs organization. So while his son is playing ball in the minor leagues, it's tough to get away. So this is a great chance for him. Yvonne was saying, my dad's only seen me play 2 or 3 times here in the last year. Swung on and missed, and quickly a 2-strike count on De Jesus. As Arrieta comes on and brandishes a couple of heaters right there. Jake Arrieta, 5th-round pick, 2007 out of Texas Christian. The 0-2 delivery. Fastball will be taken up high. He has been a member of Team USA in 06. He went 4-0 with a .27 ERA for Team USA in 2006. 1 ball, 2-strike delivery on the way. De Jesus will take the high slider that misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of comparisons between De Jesus and his dad. The thought is that Junior has a little more power than Dad had in his career. Dads don't like to hear that. I can tell you firsthand.
No?
I don't want my kids to have more power than I had.
That one to left field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Olsen out there in left will play that one on the hop, and now we're going to hear from Dad, who's mighty happy, Aaron.
And poor Dad, his first time he's seen his son playing forever, and you got a guy standing in front blocking him. He missed the at-bat basically.
You got to move that guy out of there. You got to, right when he made a good good contact. He was right in the middle ever since.
I got you. I saw that as well. You were in the majors for 15 years. You know the significance of Yankee Stadium. What is it like to see your son play here at the Futures game for the last time at Yankee Stadium?
I tell you what, this is the best thing for him and myself. I'm so proud about him. When he was real young, he was looking for play in this stadium because he knew that this is the last time that I play here. And it was a pleasure for me to see him play today.
We were talking to him earlier, and he said, you know, a lot of people compare me to my father, and I don't mind that. What kind of advice do you give him with that?
Well, I tell him to trust his talent and just play the game the way he always played. He's got a good attitude about it. He's smart playing the game, and because he watched the game when he was real young, and he was with me every single time. Even when I retired, I was as a coach, and he was with me every single time making the trips. But not only that, is the feeling he had for the game and the attitude he had. That's the best thing he had playing this game.
Your son, though, did mention to me he felt like he was a better hitter than you ever were, Dad. What do you think about that?
I agree with him. I told him this is what you don't supposed to do. Do the other thing so he could be a better hitter. I think he knows the strike zone real well. I give that to him. And I think that's the best thing he could do out there. Just enjoy the game, and he's enjoying right now. He got 2 for 3 already, and I hope he continues doing that.
Well, as Gary and Steve mentioned, of course, you are a special assistant to Lou Piniella and the Cubs. I know you have to be enjoying that, especially with Rich Harden pitching yesterday. What is the vibe right now in Chicago as you get ready to go to the All-Star break?
It's a good energy out there, a good feeling. You know, we're going to go on a break. Different this year than we did last year. Everybody's playing real well. We're going to have Soriano coming back. And I think we're going to be stronger. Hopefully, everybody's still the same way. And Lou doing a outstanding job with the pitching, giving rest to the people when they need it. And I think we're going to be stronger for the second half.
Well, enjoy your weekend being a dad here at Yankee Stadium.
It's more pressure here watching him play than being in the game. But this is enjoyable right now.
Thank you so much. Gary, back up to you.
All right, throw down to second, and they get the put out. They strike him out, throw him out, double play. As De Jesus was off and running, and Romero Pena was getting his first at bat. Double-A with the Yankees. Trenton Thunder is a strikeout victim. Boy, the catchers, that was Teagarden again. That's twice he has thrown out a runner at second base since coming on.
Well, you know, you have to have some arm strength. And here he's coming back from Tommy John surgery, and look at the quick feet and the quick release. And, you know, accuracy plays a big part in that. And if that throws anywhere else, De Jesus is safe. But he puts the throw right on the bag and retires him on the steal.
They got him, and now there are 2 down. World still leading at 1-0, so that eliminates the leadoff single that he had. Parra getting his first at bat, hitting in the number 3 spot, and he will take that one to left field. Golson coming in, he is under it. And he's got it. Parra is retired. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. Arrieta gets out of there facing only 3. The World remains on top in 6, 1-0.
6 total hits so far in this contest. A 1-0 lead for the World team about midway through. We go back down to the World dugout, where Lisa Winston is standing by with Luke Hughes.
I am here with Luke Hughes of Australia and the World team, starting third baseman in the game today, and his work is done for the day. He gets to sit and hang out and watch, but, you know, we were talking, a lot of the players have just gotten into town. Luke has been here for a couple days, been getting to see the sights, so I'm going to ask you what you have been up to and what have been the highlights the last few days for you.
Yeah, we've been busy. Me and Scotty got around on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and you know, we went around New York. We were on one of those big double-decker buses, you know, and saw the sights, saw, you know, Ground Zero, which was pretty emotional for, you know, just to know what was the, you know, what happened there and stuff. And, you know, got on the ferry, went over to Staten Island. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Saw the Statue of Liberty and came back over, you know. So we spent the day trying to get around New York and, you know, and pretty much just showing us what New York is all about.
And then yesterday you were busy also getting to kind of get involved in the community. Tell us about that a little bit.
We went down to a local boys and girls club, which they were just opening up a new section there, you know, and it was great, you know, to see all those kids and how excited they were to play on the play equipment, you know, and it's a great thing that what baseball does to give back to the kids and to the community, you know, and just to be a part of that was great, you know. And then we came back. We actually got to go to Yankee Stadium yesterday, had a little walk around, did a couple of interviews and stuff like that, you know, and bat for Eastman back in Australia. You know, and you know, obviously today it's just been unbelievable. You know, and I don't really want it to end. You know, I like to stay here and just kind of like soak it all in for the rest of the day. But you know, it's unbelievable to be here and to be just a part of it.
And stay tuned. This man's next stop, Eastern League All-Star Game. Thanks a lot, Luke.
Fan is going to lead the crowd in taking me out to the ball game during the 7th inning stretch, and you know he would love to do that. Talk about future stars. There's one right there. Gary Thorne along with Steve Phillips, lots of scouts and executives on hand, and we thank them for taking time to join us. Aaron Andrus down at field level providing us with info on the players coming and going, and here is Jesus Delgado, the Marlins AA team, Carolina Mudcats.
Came over in the trade that sent Josh Beckett to the Boston Red Sox. Hanley Ramirez, Delgado part of that deal, coming down to the Marlins. Kid with a pretty good fastball, runs it up 93, 96 miles per hour. Still trying to become more consistent in the strike zone.
Delgado will go against Chris Getz. Getz is getting his first at bat as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning now. Managers have pretty much been able to get everybody off the bench and into the ball game, continuing to use the pitchers for just 1 inning.
Yeah, much to our chagrin.
Much to our chagrin, yes. But
trying to keep up with them.
We got the numbers. AAA White Sox organization for Getz. He's out of Michigan. 4th round pick, 2005. He will take a strike on the outside corner. Rated as a plus runner. Left-handed hitter. Versatility in the outfield, as well as playing the 2 middle infield spots as he's moved around as far as positioning is concerned. Delivery to Getz will be fouled straight back.
You know, we talk about scouting, and what scouts do is they grade players out on a scale, 20 being poor, 80 being excellent, and 50 being major league average. So the 20 to 80 scale is kind of how they grade players out. A 50 grade would mean you're a major league average player in a certain category.
The delivery to Getz is grounded to short. Pena's playing shortstop now. Over to first base. Wow. Talk about some speed. Getz almost beat out a routine ground ball.
A good hustle down the line there. You know, we see Delgado on the mound, a 93 to 96 mile per hour fastball. That would grade out as a 70 fastball. A 50 fastball somewhere in the 90, 91 mile per hour range. You see the above average numbers, 70 and 80, going up to the outstanding fastball. That's a guy who could throw the ball like 96, 98 miles per hour. Very few pitchers in the major leagues throw that hard.
Another first at bat as Wes Hodges stands in. Hodges working at third base in the ball game now. He's with the Indians organization at AA with the Akron Arrows. Inside out on a broken bat pop-up. There at Yankee Stadium, not much room, and that's going to end up in the seats on a foul ball, 1-1.
Jeff Getz got down that line in a hurry, really hustling, showing off his speed. See a left-hand hitter kind of running on the pitch. Chris Getz hustling down the line, almost beating out that ground ball. And you know, he has above average speed. The average speed for a left-hander down the line is 4.2 seconds. For a right-handed hitter, 4.3.
He's doing a number on that bat. Played it short. This time Pena had to make the long throw. And those are the kinds of plays right there. You just saw 2 of them by the shortstop that in this game can make a difference as to how you are viewed by the organization.
Well, that's where you show off your tools. Pena showed his arm strength. We saw Getz show off his speed, and those are the tools. If scouts are in the stands, they have their stopwatches. You take a look at speed. You know, average speed, if you grade a guy out at 50, well, like an average run in the major league guy like a Michael Young. Carlos Gomez, the fastest player in the American League, he grades out at 80 speed. He's about 3.9 down the line from the right side of the plate.
D'Antonio takes that one towards the corner. Parra over. Nice play. Good read on that ball as he was on the warning track. Delgado comes on and retires the side in order. We have completed 6 innings, 1-4-0 for the world, 0-2-1 for USA.
And we have played 6 innings here in the Bronx. It's a 1-0 lead for the world team. We go back down to the world dugout. Lisa Winston standing by with Nationals prospect pitcher Sharon Martis.
With pitcher Sharon Martins, who is from Curacao, the Netherlands. Now, we've been talking a lot about how the U.S. team is the shortlist for the U.S. Olympic team, but guess what? There are other countries going to the Olympics. One of them is the Netherlands, and this gentleman with me is going to be going to Beijing at the Olympics. Now, when did you find out officially that you were going to be going with the Dutch team?
Last week ago, the manager of the Dutch team called me, and he said that he asked me before if I want to go, like before in the, and last week he called me and he said, okay, you're on the team to go. So I'm so excited to go now.
Now, you've been pitching though with the the qualifying and the national team. How many times have you been able to kind of wear your flag and go and pitch in international competition like that?
It's like this gonna be my fourth time I'm gonna pitch for the Dutch team.
So is it kind of exciting knowing that today you're probably going to be throwing to a couple of guys you might be seeing in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's exciting because I know a couple of guys who's going that is in my team, so I'm gonna excited.
Now, the Dutch team, really a combination of veterans, of Curacao guys, actual Netherlands guys. Have you guys all played together pretty much a lot over the years?
Okay, right now we got 3 guys, so me and 2 more guys in our team that's going, and we like maybe 7 guys who's professional that's going, and the other guys, they are in the Netherlands right now.
So should everybody root for Team Netherlands?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Congratulations, Sharon. Look forward to watching you there.
Summer day temperatures are going to be probably up in the upper 80s, maybe near 90.
Hey, take a look at that ground ball. Ramiro Pena making the play right there, ranging to his right, planting his back leg and showing off his arm strength, showing above average arm strength on that play. Doesn't have to step, just plants and throws. And as a scout, you'd grade that as a 60 arm. Some might stretch it to a 70 arm and start comparing it to other major league infielders and arm strength. Well, Derek Jeter's got about an average arm right now. He's a 50. David Eckstein, a below average, a well below average arm. And Rafael Furcal, the best infield arm in the major leagues. He's an 80. So what scouts do, they'll watch a player make a play and then compare it to Derek Jeter. If it's better than Derek Jeter, then you're in the 60, 70, 80 range. If it's less than a Derek Jeter, then it's in the 40, 30, 20 range. You can kind of start to compare it to other players that are out there. It's a real valuable tool for scouts, comparing players to current major leaguers.
And we go to the top half of the 7th inning. Angel Villalona getting his first at bat as he will stand in here against Ryan Matthews, right-hander, Double-A Rockies organization with the Tulsa Drillers, a 19th round pick in 2003.
Closer for the Tulsa Double-A team. Runs that high fastball up in the zone, goes to the slider.
Villalona will take a strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
Villalona 6'3", about 210, 220 pounds, 17 years old, born in 1990, youngest player here in the Futures game.
Villalona will chop that one back towards the mound. Hops on that one. Matthews making sure gets the out. Villalona's retired. One away here in the 7th inning. Good crowd on hand here at Yankee Stadium to see these young stars. The All-Star game, of course, will be here on Tuesday. And talking about Furcal, I saw the predictions you made. I actually agreed with you on something, which is pretty amazing.
How about that? Wow.
Dodgers in the West.
You're finally coming around a little bit.
No, you're the one who came over.
You know, the Dodgers have gotten very good pitching. They're getting healthy now, too. And, you know, Furcal had the back surgery, but if they get him back, and if they don't, they're still going to, I think, get a chance to make a trade to get a shortstop. A lot of talk about Jack Wilson being a possibility for them in the trade market. But what I like is the young hitters, the Matt Kemps, Andre Ethiers. I think they're going to come along more quickly than the Diamondbacks' young hitters are coming along.
Amazing. It'll be something if Torrey goes out there and is able to bring a team along that's had its problems along the way. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Juan Francisco. He is also getting his first at bat in the ball game. Left-handed hitter against Ryan Matthews. Francisco will take the pitch. That is going to miss for a ball. Francisco with the Sarasota Reds in the Florida State League. He's hitting .268, 12 homers, 55 RBIs for him. You see 4th in RBIs in the Florida State League on the season. Had a good big cut boy. He doesn't get cheated up there, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count on him.
I got a chance to watch batting practice. I got to say, I really liked his stroke at the plate. The ball came off his bat nicely, very aggressive, attacking the ball. Florida State League, a lot of big ballparks down there, spring training ballparks, and the ball doesn't always carry that well. 12 home runs and 55 RBIs, pretty good production.
With some power, swung on and fouled that one again. He certainly is not tentative at the plate. Well, that kind of a cut. Gary Carter, who was the catcher for Davey Johnson's '86 Mets that won the World Series, over in the dugout. Kid on hand. There are going to be so many Hall of Famers on hand for the All-Star game. They're going to be in the big parade on 6th Avenue, red carpet parade in the afternoon prior to the ball game on Tuesday. That one looped out towards short, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. So Juan Francisco is on as he delivers a 1-out single there in the 7th inning. Only the 4th hit for the world team. USA has only 2. Reds had another look last year as Joey Votto hit with power. He had the solo home run of Clay Buchholz in his 2nd Futures appearance. Another name the Reds are looking at. And also Jay Bruce played for USA team. He had a triple. One came at the AT&T Park last season. Some of the names who this year are being heard from at the major league level. Scott Campbell up. 1 down and 1 on. Campbell is flied out and struck out.
Jay Bruce, Joey Votto, 2 key parts of what I think is going to be a pretty good offense in Cincinnati for years to come. And Edwin Encarnacion at 3rd base can swing the bat as well.
That one off the handle towards second. Nice stop. Flip gets relay to first. Will not be in time, but a fine play at second base. And the fans applauding the defensive work.
Well, Chris Getz isn't the biggest tool guy. He doesn't have a lot of power. We saw him get down the line with above average speed, but he's a baseball player. He's a gamer. You see him go up the middle, ranging, and having the presence of mind to roll over, make the flip to Valaika at second base and trying to get 2. And outstanding play right there.
They get the out at second base. Fielder's choice, 2 down as Campbell will be on at first. That's a nice play. Get that lead runner. Changes the whole inning. That one is drilled to left field. That is way back, and goodbye home run. Ji-Sung Lee delivers a homer on his first pitch seen. A 2 RBI shot and a 3-0 lead for the world. Well, that didn't take long. He has been watching from the dugout. Jae-Swang Lin coming on to play in center field, and that is not just his first at bat, but he went after the first pitch seen from Ryan Matthews and drilled it.
A product of the Boston Red Sox organization, did a nice job clearing his hands. That ball running inside. See him pull his hands inside, hitting against the front leg. Outstanding job keeping that pitch fair. That's not easy to do because that was in off the plate a little bit. Showed some real power there.
Wow. And a 3-0 lead now, and a dream come true. We said, what if one of these players is able to put one out at Yankee Stadium? Most of them, of course, have never even been here before, much less hit a home run in a game. Well, he just did, and I mean, he rocked that one. So 3 runs on 6 hits, and 2 across here in the top half of the 7th inning, and it came with 2 down. Jesus Montero is getting his first at bat. Montero coming on to do the catching.
Lin known more for his speed. He's a championship sprinter from Chinese Taipei.
Well, he did run around the bases quickly. That one is hauled in by Brian Anderson, who came on to do the catching. But Lin delivers the home run, 2 up on 2 hits with nobody left on base. In a moment, he is not going to forget. And as a result of this swing of the bat and a shot 320 feet away, it is a 3-0 world lead.
Now for the world squad over Team USA, and here at this point, you certainly could talk about the offense that has busted through here in this half inning. We get some offense via a 2-run home run, and by most unlikely of people, a Boston Red Sox here in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. He was getting booed during the pregame introduction just because of the hat on his head. He's still a teenager. He won't turn 20 years old until after the minor league season is over. And we said at the top of the show, it's kind of rare for a Red Sox prospect to be under the radar, but people don't know much about him. It's his first full season in the United States, and he's incredibly young, but obviously knew what to do with that pitch and just yanked it down the left field line.
Right, so Chase Swan Lin right now perhaps in line for MVP honors here at this game, and a fact for you, in the game, the first ever Futures game at Fenway Park, Alfonso Soriano, at the time was a Yankee prospect, won the MVP of the award, so we might see something get flipped up entirely here if in fact Chase Swan Lin could walk away with MVP honors.
Yeah, and right now, considering there hasn't been that much offense, and it's so difficult to give the MVP award to a pitcher only going one inning, Lynn has to be the odds-on favorite. So I guess every 10 years they flip this around. So we'll see again, 10 years from now, and try to find out who the MVP is there.
All right, so a 3-0 lead here at this point. That means that the U.S. team is going to need to get some offense going. There have been a couple of substitutions, yet still a couple of big names that can come out on that U.S. squad and perhaps start generating runs here at this point. It's just going to take a little something to get them going.
Yeah, all you need is a couple base runners and a swing like Lynn had in that half an inning, and they're back in the ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 5-4 series lead. The U.S. does, in fact, lead the world team and via a series. Now, it was 5-3 last year when the world team picked up a 7-2 victory. But this year, it's a 3-0 world lead at this point. Chase Swan Lin with the 2-run home run so far. They make it a 3-0 score. So we're back with more. Jonathan Mayo, Vinny Macucci, back to the broadcast we go.
And we welcome you back. Great to have you with us. You take a look at some of the former stars who you have seen in this game who are now not only performing at the major league level, but performing at an all-star caliber. Soriano's not going to be there, but made the team in any event. You see the future alums who are going to be at the 08 All-Star game with Mauer, Youkilis, Hamilton, the comeback player, maybe the story of the year, Francisco Rodriguez, Santana, Navarro, Morneau, Evan Longoria's added to the team, Grady Sizemore at Cleveland. Those are alums of this Futures game. And in the National League, Giovanni Soto, the first rookie catcher to start in the National League All-Star uniform. Berkman, Utley, Ramirez, Braun, Soriano, Cook. Soriano injured, replaced by David Wright, who's going to make it. Sheets, Volquez, Martin, Gonzalez, Ramirez, and Corey Hart added. I mean, what a list, and all played in this Futures game.
When I come back as the general manager, that's the roster I want right there. I want those guys to play on my team. If I can just get that group of players for my team when I come back as a GM, I'll be happy.
All right, it's a deal.
Okay,
I'll be the owner of the team. I'll buy the team. Okay, we'll come up with some money from somewhere.
Excellent.
Excellent. Fernando Salas, working with the Cardinals AA organization, the Springfield Cardinals coming on. He was signed out of the Mexican League last year.
Putting up some big numbers as well. You see the 15 saves, 69 strikeouts in 49 innings, and doing it without overpowering stuff, working a sequence of pitches, using his fastball to both sides of the plate, particularly running it into left-handed hitters.
Sure got to like that ratio, Steve. 11 walks to 69 strikeouts in 49 innings pitched. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. USA. Nate Scherholz up. He has struck out and flied out. Still only 2 hits on the board, 2 singles. Matt Laporta got one in the 2nd inning, and Jason Donald got one in the 5th inning. Those are the only hits that USA has put on the board today. He delivers a ground ball up the middle, perfectly positioned. Pena up with it, makes the throw over and gets the out. Scherholz is retired. One away in the bottom half of the 7th inning. And our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Get there on Goodyear tires with carbon fiber. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. On a beautiful sunny day, the site for this Futures All-Star game. Matt Laporta coming up. Laporta's had a single. He's gone 1 for 2. USA with a 5-4 edge in the first 9 seasons that this game has been played. The world trying to even that one up with a victory in this game today. And right now they've got a 3-0 lead. And Salas's pitch will catch the outside corner for a strike. one of the first-round picks. There are 7 first-rounders participating in this XM All-Star Futures game. Laporta is one of those. First-round pick, Cleveland, 07. He will foul that one back.
You know, one of the things in order to be a major league player is that you have to deal with adversity. You have to be able to deal with failure and show that you can cope with it. And you know, Matt Laporta, as a sophomore at Florida, put up big numbers. But his junior year struggled. He did not have the same kind of production. Things didn't go quite right. He got drafted and decided, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. Then I'm going to go back as a senior and put up the numbers again. He did it. It paid off for him. He went to the Brewers, the 8th overall pick, got a lot of money to do it.
That one is going to be swung on and missed. Dallas will record the strikeout. And there are 2 down here in the 7th inning. There will be an MVP named after the great Larry Doby, the Larry Doby Most Valuable Player Award, which will come up after this game. Kind of interesting that Chin Lung Hu, the Dodgers player, won it in 07, 2 for 2 with a couple of RBIs. And the home run by Lynn is certainly going to put him in consideration for the MVP of this ball game, depending on what happens the rest of the way.
Chin Lung Hu got a chance to get a little time at the major leagues this year for the Dodgers, but in the absence of Rafael Furcal, but has struggled. Again, that consistency that all of these players strive for just wasn't there for him.
Dexter Fowler at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Fowler has gone the distance here. He has flied out and hit into a double play. His pitching performance by the World Future players has been pretty darn impressive, as they have walked only 3. They have picked up 6 combined strikeouts in the ball game. Allowed only the 2 hits. Everybody working an inning. And Salas on, trying for a 1-2-3 inning himself. And he's got a chance to get it. Short hop. Jesus at second makes the play over, and indeed he does. And we have completed 7 innings as Fernando Salas, the right-hander with the Cardinal organization, sets the side down in order. 3-0 World.
Still 2 hits so far for the U.S. team. A successful half inning for Fernando Salas. Goes 1-2-3 to retire the U.S. team. A 3-0 lead. Down to the World dugout we go. Pablo Sandoval, Giants prospect, is with Lisa Winston.
With Pablo Sandoval, who I normally refer to as catcher Pablo Sandoval, but today playing first base, was the starting first baseman for the World team. And Pablo, the first time we met 2 years ago in Pittsburgh when you were there for the Futures game, so your second Futures game experience, how has this one for you differed from the first one you participated in?
This one is different because this one, the last year for the Yankee Stadium, I decided to get part of last year in the Yankee Stadium. I decided for this Futures game.
Now, you only found out just pretty recently that you're going to be coming here. What was your reaction? I mean, I guess it was coming right after also being promoted to AA. Big week for you.
Man, I get excited. They called me later, like 2 weeks ago. He told me, hey, you're going to a Futures game, and get excited for the participation.
Did you know that you would be playing first base instead of catching?
No, they make a decision after the game, late in the day, before the game. They make a decision, play first base.
So is that okay with you? I mean, would you rather be catching?
It's okay because I want to play. I want to stay in the lineup, especially the cleaner hitter. I feel excited for that moment.
So are you going to be starting adding stealing bases to your repertoire now?
No, I don't think so. I can run. I can steal a base. It's okay.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on a great half season and being here. Continue having fun, playing well.
Thank you.
These young players have put on a show. It is a 3-0 lead for World, and the manager of the team out in front is with Aaron Andrus. Aaron?
And he was just joking around. It's not so much about the coaching. It's about your players, right? They're making you look good.
That's right. You know, you're a good manager as long as because you have good players, and so far, you know, it's a long way to go here. They're making me look good.
Yeah, they definitely are. Hey, you spent 7 years here with the Yankees. What did you tell these guys before they took the field about how special this place is?
Well, I think when they took the field for batting practice and stretching, they were all just looking around. They were in awe of the place. And when batting practice is over, I just told them, go out there, have fun, play your game. And it's the last year in Yankee Stadium, and I think all of these guys from other countries, they realize the magnitude of this game and the stadium.
What's it like for you to be a part of this weekend?
Oh, I'm totally honored. You know, I was going to be here anyway to watch the All-Star game with my kids, but when they asked me to be a manager of this team, it was just something I couldn't refuse, and I'm very happy I did it.
You're kind of enjoying wearing this coaching hat, huh? You're working with the University of South Florida, also doing some stuff with the Yankees. How much is coaching in your future, do you think?
Well, I really do like it. You know, I started at the University of South Florida, and I'm still there, and working with the Yankees in spring training and this, I'm really liking a lot. I love the teaching part of it, the strategy part of it, so hopefully in the future I'll be in it somewhere, but right now I'm happy with the part-time stuff.
Well, on a sad note, the Yankees lost a very important and dear member of their family yesterday in Bobby Mercer. What thoughts or memories will you have of him?
Well, just a great human being. You know, Bobby was so great to all of us, the opposing team, the Yankees, and anytime you were struggling, you know, he always seemed to make it a point to come up to me or whoever was struggling and just talk to them, tell them when he struggled, and he always made you feel good. I'm very sad, and my thoughts and prayers go out to his wife, Kay.
All right, Tino, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gary?
All right, Aaron. Tino Martinez, who, of course, was here with the Yankees for a large part of his 16 seasons in the majors. 4 World Championships with the Yankees for Tino, and he got a great hand when he was introduced to the crowd prior to the ball game. Hernandez will lead it off. Casey Weathers, right-handers, come on to do the pitching. Fouled away. Casey Weathers with the Double-A Rockies team, the Tulsa Drillers.
First-round pick for the Rockies last year out of Vanderbilt University, closer for their college team that went to the College World Series, and you see the numbers there: 40 strikeouts in 35 innings, power stuff.
Marcus Hernandez, he has gone the distance, batting in the number 9 spot. He has struck out and lined out to the pitcher. His last time up, the center fielder, Atlanta Braves organization, out of Venezuela, signed in 2005. 1 ball, 2 strike count on him. Weathers' delivery to him is a grounder that'll be fouled outside of third.
Well, Weathers has that kind of stuff and experience on his resume that a lot of thoughts he's a fast track guy. That, you know, he's at Double-A now. The Rockies bullpen at times can use help. They have Brian Fuentes closing for them now after Manny Corpus struggled this year. And Fuentes' name has been talked about a lot. A guy potentially being dealt. Possibly Weathers going to the big leagues if he is.
Weathers has been impressive, working exclusively in relief. He had a strikeout in 18 straight appearances that went on through late June. And had a big $1.8 million contract that he signed originally. 2-2 delivery on the way is swung on and missed. He got him for a strikeout. And Hernandez is retired, 1 away. A reminder that the Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball, reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide. Together, they create a positive place for kids. And the lucky kids who get to be part of the festivities here today and throughout this stand. Fan Fest, of course, going on at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. Fan Fest at every All-Star game. A great place for both youngsters and adults. See some history of the game, interactive. Throw the ball, hit the ball. Stars are on hand signing autographs. It's a great time.
Well, the Fan Fest is tremendous. It's growing every year, and this year a lot of interactive, a lot of memorabilia, autograph signing, legends of the game signing autographs was over there. And so Roy White, Mickey Rivers, Dick Williams.
A lot of Hall of Famers, as we said, will be on hand for all of the festivities here in New York, starting actually late last week for Fan Fest, and more players and stars coming in. Great view of Yankee Stadium from on high. 2-0 count of on to Jesus. He has picked up a couple of singles, 2 for 3 in the ball game, and he will take the pitch inside for a ball. Middle infielder, and his dad also the same. Jesus, a shortstop. Ahead on the count here, 3-0. Weathers' delivery to him and got it in for a strike.
I talked to a lot of fans about the futures game, and they like it because they do fantasy baseball and they get a chance to see some of the young top prospects that they can get out in front of for the next year. Maybe draft them, put them on their bench, and hold them until they break in. A lot of people had Jay Bruce, Joey Votto on their rosters.
It is a great time for that. A lot of what those who play the games only see in name and in print, you get to see on the field.
Casey Weathers is a guy that's going to be in the major leagues very quickly. He has just an explosive fastball. When he can command it, hit his spots, and then throw the slider off of it, At times, he's unhittable.
Pena is now in the leadoff spot as Weathers working against the World that has the 3-0 lead here in the top half of the 8th inning. Jesus on at first base. He got caught stealing in the 6th inning. How many of those have we had now?
It's a couple pickoffs and I think 2 caught steals. So 4 base runners gunned down so far. We're going to ask Tino Martinez if who he delegated the base running duties to in the World dugout.
The arms have been outstanding. That pitch will be taken by Pena inside, and Brian Anderson will head out to have a word with Weathers. May have gotten crossed up. Tino probably won't take any of the decisions for base running to heart for himself.
No, he wasn't really a base runner. You look at Tino Martinez, and Yankee fans love him, and he did a very difficult thing, and that's filling the shoes of Don Mattingly. When Mattingly was done playing, that's a tough job to come in and fill the shoes of somebody as beloved as Don Mattingly was, and to have the fans love him as much as he did really shows you the way that Tino went about playing the game.
And that is taken for a strike. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Don Mattingly in Monument Park. It's a very special place to be in the history of this organization. And that pitch will be taken down low for a ball. And that'll take the count to 3 balls and 1 strike on Pena.
Don Mattingly now the hitting coach for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Good to see that he's going to get back with a big club, having to have personal time off for much of this season. 3-1 delivery on the way, jammed him, tried to hold up on it, did he? Yes, and that will be ball 4. So Weathers surrenders the walk. That's 2 issued back-to-back here, and the World again gets an opportunity here in the 8th inning with runners on at first and second base and only 1 away. Parra will get the RBI opportunity. Parra, who has worked in 2 different levels, Southern League, now with the Visalia Oaks. Combined numbers, 282, 4 homers, 32 RBIs. He's got 2 on here with 1 away. And Parra takes a cut at a pitch that ate him up, down, and in from Weathers.
Now, when you got a 96, 97 mile-an-hour fastball, you speed up the hitter's bat, then you throw the slider in exactly the same plane, and Weathers' slider can be 91 miles per hour, so that's an absolutely power pitch. So you can see he has the stuff to be a potential closer. Now he needs the consistency in the strike zone.
Parra's had 1 at bat and flied out. He fouls that one back. He is considered by the scouts as the best pure hitter in the Diamondbacks organization. At Class A, the Midwest League, he won a batting title, hitting .320. That was in South Bend last season. Putting up a .283 average, 4 homers, and 32 RBIs this year. Parra with runners at first and second, fouls it back. Weathers holds the count at 2 strikes on him.
I think that some of the scouts would refer to him as kind of a poor man's Carlos Beltran. I mean, Beltran's certainly one of those elite center fielders, but they think this kid has the potential to grow into being something very similar to Beltran in center field.
We talked about positioning, Steve. It's the ignored part of the game when usually we're looking at pitchers and guys who are at the plate hitting. But where are they going to play when they come up? While they're in the minors, oftentimes is a real issue for a number of these players.
Well, there's no question. I mean, I think that you develop your players to play the skill positions, but if you have somebody in that position at the major league level, they have to be able to be prepared to play there too. And I tell you, I saw so many young players get locked in to be a number 3, number 4 hitter, so they never hit and run, they never bunt for a hit. They only play center field. Then they get to the big leagues, and you ask them to do something different, and they can't do it. So part of the appropriate development of every player is you better expose them to more than just one thing. You can't just be the guy who goes up, tries to hit the gapper or hit the home run. I mean, I remember Greg Jeffries, top prospect of the Mets, great hitter coming up. He got to the big leagues, and Davey Johnson, who's in the U.S. dugout now, asked him to bunt. And he didn't get it down. He said, I never bunted in the minor leagues. Well, that's a failure of the farm system.
And that's why when we talk about organizational structure, the organizations usually that come up with winning operations are those that have a system that applies from top to bottom, or maybe better put, from bottom to top.
And everybody's asked to do things. You have to sacrifice bunt, even if you're a number 4 hitter on a Double-A team. because when you get to the big leagues, you're going to be batting seventh and have to get the runner over.
Yep. A shot over the dugout. 1 ball, 2 strike count remains on Parra.
I had a chance to talk to Ed Lynch, former general manager, Chicago Cubs. He's doing some scouting for USA Baseball, and one of the things he said is, you see so many kids today, you read the report and say, he can really swing the bat, but he doesn't have a position. And the reason for that is kids are learning the game in batting cages today. They're not out in the fields playing.
That ball's shot into left field for a base hit. Golson's up with it. They'll hold the runner, playing very shallow. He gets it in. Parra gets a base hit, and World has loaded him up here in the 8th inning after the strikeout. 2 walks and a single off Weathers. Have put 3 on and only 1 away.
Good piece of hitting by Parra right here. He stays on the ball. Committed a little early, but kept his hands back, able to kind of guide it into left field, and Golson charges hard, does a nice job getting to the ball. John Stearns coaching third base. Good decision to hold him up.
And the Olympics pitching coach, Marcel Latchman, made a visit to the mound just to say hi. This Olympic team that's going to be headed up by Davey Johnson, who's managing this ball club. His coaching staff here today is the coaching staff he will take with him. Reggie Smith is the hitting coach. Rick Eckstein is going to be the third base and bench coach, and Dick Cook will be the auxiliary coach, all here and all working in the Olympic operation as well. Foul back, bases loaded, 0-1 count. World has a 3-0 lead, out hitting USA 7-2. There's Reggie Smith. He knew what to do with the bat.
Yes, he did.
Still does from the coaching perspective. Villalona with a great opportunity here, swung on and missed as Weathers put that one away from him.
Villalona, the Giants organization, signed a $2.2 million signing bonus to give that some perspective. He's just 17 years old, but that's more money than they gave to Tim Lincecum, signed in the first round of the draft. So they have high hopes and expectations for this big, strong young man.
Villalona, the delivery to him will be fouled straight back. Named the top prospect in the rookie league in the Arizona League. He's another guy who's moved around a little bit. He's moved to first base from third because they were worried about his size and whether or not he would be agile enough to play at third base. So he's been playing first base, and that's where he is right now in this game. Villalona with an 0-2 count, 1 down, bases loaded. Weathers' delivery to him came back inside and got him. He did not foul tip that. He is out of there, and there are 2 down. Big strikeout.
A big swing from a big young man. And with 2 strikes, got to try to cut that down just a little bit. And Weathers has that explosive fastball. They set up away, but he throws it up and in and just surprises them and finds that hole in the swing. You see a little bit of an uppercut, some lift to that swing, and swings just underneath that heater.
So a couple of strikeouts in the inning. Weathers could actually strike out the side here. He's also walked 2 and given up a single. By far, of all the pitchers, he has thrown the most in this game. Juan Francisco takes a strike. The bases are loaded. Pena's on at third. He got a walk. Another walk at second base, Parra. And a single by Parra, rather. He's on at first, and Weathers trying to work his way out of this. And Francisco with a big swing, 0-2.
Now, one of the things for Juan Francisco, he's going to have to work on 83 strikeouts, 9 base on balls. So he goes up to the plate hacking. That's why in batting practice the ball comes off his bat pretty good. But if he chases that many pitches out of the zone, he's going to have an awfully tough time because pitchers will just try to work the corners and expand the zone.
He is a switch-hitting third baseman. The home runs evident in the Midwest League, Class A, 25. He led the league last season in home runs. And he's looking for one right here. Out of the Dominican Republic, signed in 2004. Reds organization. 1-2 delivery. Takes the pitch away. Weathers thought he might have had a strikeout, was headed to the dugout, but it's 2-2.
Well, he's going to learn. You have to earn that pitch. He's been really missing his spots. He's been all over the place. And when you finally do try to throw it just off the corner, the umpire's not likely to give you that pitch because you have to work the corner and then expand off of it. He hasn't been doing that.
2-ball, 2-strike count. And he does strike the side out. In between, a couple of walks and a single, and they all were left on. We'll go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. World on top, 3-0.
So 3 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the World team. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 error for Team USA. Still a lead right now for the World team. Chase-Wan Lin with the 2-run home run out of the Red Sox organization, perhaps in line for an MVP award here at the end of this one. That is still up in the air. But Casey Weathers gets into and wiggles out of a jam during that course of the inning. He's one of the promising first-round picks that the Rockies have that they're looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, and one of the several first-round picks here in today's game. And this is a guy who was a converted player in college, moved to closing, was expected to move quickly, went right to Double-A this year. Actually hasn't been closing too many games. I think the Rockies want him to get some success before worrying about his save total or anything like that. But tremendous closer stuff. You didn't even see the big fastball from him in this game at all, Vinny, but showed a good slider, pulled the string on that one pitch there, and was able to wiggle out of trouble, which is what you want to see from a short reliever.
Absolutely, and there are a couple of first-round picks that we're seeing so far in this game, even to those that are not even playing, like Felipe Alman, who's injured right now, still a first-round pick with the Seattle Mariners. A couple of guys that we get to watch and enjoy in this game.
Yeah, and you hear about them on draft day, and then sometimes they kind of vanish just because that's the nature of minor league baseball. You don't always get to hear about them, but you have a guy like Greg Golson, you've got a guy like Andrew McCutchen from that 2005 draft, a couple of other guys here. You get to see them in action and know that they are moving their way up the ladder, and maybe they haven't made that meteoric rise like Evan Longoria or Jay Bruce or Justin Upton, alumni of this game, have, but they're on their way up and they should be there in short order.
All right, last year when the game was 7 innings, the World scored in 5 of the 7 innings. The U.S. had to wait till Justin Upton had a home run in the 6th to get on the board. Will that come now? They trail 3-0. We go back to the broadcast. The World 3, the U.S. nothing.
Is brought to you by XM. 170 channels to find what turns you on, including MLB on XM. Every team, every game. And in part by Orbitz. Visit Orbitz.com today and save.
Here in New York, we're in the Bronx Yankee Stadium, and the World has a 3-0 lead going to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Outstanding pitching and defense evident in this game. Lynn with the home run for 2 RBIs as the chopper heads away. And we continue with the pitching changes. Henry Rodriguez working in high A ball at Stockton Ports for the A's.
Well, this kid has some sort of explosive fastball. In spring training, touched 100 miles per hour. So you see 108 strikeouts, 84 innings. He has power stuff. The 59 walks, not always the best command around. And you talk about grading out pitchers. Average fastball for right-handers somewhere 90, 91 miles per hour. Well, we talk about Jabba Chamberlain last year, Justin Verlander. Well, this young man, you talk about guys that throw the ball 96, 98 miles per hour. Jabba Chamberlain would grade out in 80 in the 20 to 80 scale. Cliff Lee, right around the 90, 91 range. Might touch 92, a tick above average. And Jamie Moyer, you're talking about a guy throwing 81 to 83, 84 miles per hour. That's a 20, but they all are effective major league pitchers, so velocity only tells you part of the story. Movement, certainly something that's evaluated, graded out as well. And how do you use the secondary pitches off of the fastball regardless of the velocity that you use?
Well, we'll see what Rodriguez can do here as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. USA running out of outs to work with here. Brian Anderson is doing the catching. He's going to get his first at bat. Take a look south on the beautiful island of Manhattan.
What a great day today, too, huh?
Couldn't ask for a nicer day. How pleasant, comfortable it's been here in the city at a time when it can be really uncomfortable and hot and steamy. This is Brian Anderson, who's been doing the catching. Anderson will take the pitch down low. 21-year-old, 311 career average in the minor leagues. He skipped Class A, became one of the youngest players at Double-A, and then has moved up to Triple-A. So he's in a hurry on his way to the major league level. It's 4 pro seasons now for Anderson of the Cardinals, playing with the Memphis Redbirds. 347, 3 homers, 35 RBIs. Pitch is taken down low for a ball and a 3-0 count.
You get a chance to watch Henry Rodriguez, and you look at Brian Anderson there, and likely to take a pitch. You see the on-base percentage for a guy that knows how to take a walk and looking to start off an inning. Rodriguez, kind of a short armor, does not get real extension back as his hand comes out of his glove. You know, similar to Roger Clemens was kind of a short armor as well, but able to generate velocity with the bottom half of the rotation as they go to the plate.
3-0 delivery taking all the way, and that's going to be a leadoff walk, and that is exactly what USA needed. Base runners here in the ball game late. Leadoff walk in the 8th inning.
Velocity is always a good thing because you can make mistakes in the zone. So you've got to get in the zone to get the hitter to swing the bat.
Well, let's see if USA can take advantage of this. Only 4 walks have been issued by the pitchers for the World Future All-Stars. And that has resulted in not a lot of base runners on. This will be the first at-bat. Chris Valaika will take the pitch on the outside corner. Valaika batting in the number 9 spot. Valaika hitting .316, 13 homers, and 57 RBIs in the Cincinnati organization. Valaika will foul that one off. He moved up from the Chattanooga Lookouts to the Sarasota, from the Sarasota Reds. Combined numbers, 15 homers, 59 RBIs, and a .318 average.
You know, one of the difficulties of USA Baseball and evaluating players is, you have a player hitting .360 at the Class A level and a player hitting .290 at the AAA level. So which one's better? I mean, could the player hitting .360 at the A level compete at that higher AAA level and get the job done? And they're having to make some of those evaluations, putting their roster together.
Valaika fouled that one off, and Montero caught it full on the mask and buckled him over. And John Tumpane, the home plate umpire, is going to go out to the mound just to give the catcher a chance to regroup.
I've always wondered, why in the world did you want to be a catcher? I mean, I understand you've got arm around him, but they're still throwing. This guy's throwing 98 miles per hour, and you know what? They deflect off the bat sometimes. I wouldn't play. I don't know. I don't understand it.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Why catchers are at such a premium now for that very reason. 0-2 delivery on the way, and he got him swinging. So he comes back and gets the strikeout after the walk. Henry Rodriguez, one away here in the 8th inning.
Number 2.
Hope you are enjoying a look-see at the future of Major League Baseball as the XM All-Star Futures game taking place. Team World, Team USA, along with Steve Phillips, Aaron Andrus, and some great guests we've had on. I'm Gary Thorne. We are in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Game was expanded to 9 innings. Used to be a 7-inning ball game, but in the end it resulted in pitchers having to come on and get one hitter out maybe, and then another one and another one. They just weren't getting a good look at them. These guys certainly 9 innings worthy, so that's what it is this year. That'll be taken inside. Greg Golson up. Golson in the leadoff spot, 1 at bat, struck out.
Now Davey Johnson is the manager. He believes in on-base percentage, so guys taking walks in this game really does score points with Davey Johnson and try to get runners on base and see if he can't get somebody to run into one.
Olson to the Phillies organization, goes after the heater, doesn't get it. 300 batter with 8 home runs, 39 RBIs this year. That may be a pitch about as fast as he's seen all year. That had some hump on it.
And it's awfully tough when you have an uppercut swing to catch up with that fastball up in the zone.
Henry Rodriguez delivers the 1-2, and he got him. Rodriguez at times here against a couple of hitters, overwhelmingly dominating.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, he has the potential to be a closer. He has that kind of stuff. Yet the A's are putting him in the rotation in the minor leagues to help develop his secondary pitches. I really do like that. You see him just run the fastball right by Golson. So Golson's bat doesn't stay in the plane of the ball for very long. It kind of goes in and comes out as opposed to staying through the ball to be able to drive it.
There are 2 down, and the pitch taken away by Chris Getz, who made the fine defensive play earlier in the ball game at second base. Getz has had 1 at bat. He grounded out. Runner on at first. There are 2 down here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Henry Rodriguez, he's looking to strike the side out. The way he's going, he just might get that done.
So that's some gas right there, and he has some deception with his delivery because he is so short and back as the ball comes out of his glove. His arm kind of gets on you pretty quick. He's a big guy with presence on the mound.
Fans oohing and eyeing over the heat. Ooh, and down he goes. He slipped on the mound. It's as though he is all right. 1 ball, 2 strike count. You can cause yourself some muscle problems right there.
You see him follow through, and hopefully nothing gave right there. I think I might send somebody out just to check and make sure that something didn't buckle underneath him and it was just a slip.
Pretty good tumble right there, but he did land on his wallet. If you can do that, you're generally okay.
Good sign. Listen, with this kind of stuff, he's got a chance to make some money.
1-2 delivery on the way. Came back and just missed inside.
He threw it 100, so my guess is that he didn't hurt anything on the slip on the pitch before.
Apparently he's okay. How would you like to be the hitter and the guy who just fell throwing 100 miles an hour, and now he's going to throw another pitch, and you're not really sure you want to dig in? You know what I mean? I want to stay with that heater. 2-2 runner at first. He does strike the side out. Wow. Pretty impressive performance right there by Rodriguez. New York and Lady Liberty in the harbor. A 3-0 world lead. Bring them on.
So a lead for the world team over the U.S. team. Hector Rodriguez showing pure gas in his half inning to retire the world side. Down to the world dugout we go. Lisa Winston is standing by.
Here with Eddie Moreland of the Tampa Bay Rays. And Eddie, first question I got to ask you, do you have a fastball like Henry Rodriguez?
Well, not at the moment, no. And I don't think I can get that high. No, I don't.
Now, Eddie is here representing Cuba, which is where he was born, moved to the United States when he was 12 years old, grew up in Miami, but came to the Rays. This is an interesting one. During the off-season trade with the Twins, the Delman Young-Matt Garza deal. So I've got to ask, what was it like being traded in that kind of big-name trade?
I was surprised at first, I heard a lot of rumors about it, and I never thought I was going to get traded, so I was very surprised when it happened.
How has it been for you this year? I mean, all of a sudden you're part of that Rays cutting edge, great prospects coming up.
Yeah, everybody tell me, oh, you go into a team that needs pitching, that's not struggling. And look, I go to the Rays and they're in first place.
Not too bad then. Kind of nice to be part of that package.
Yeah, that makes me want to work harder now to be part of the team, so it's good stuff.
So last question here. How many of these guys on both teams do you know here?
Oh, most all of them, like I played last year in the fall league with a lot of those guys in the other team, and they were on my team and we won, so I know them pretty good.
Okay. Well, congratulations on being here today. Good to see you, and hopefully we'll be seeing you up in Tampa Bay pretty soon.
Thank you.
Power, patience, endurance, and a little bit of luck. 8 of the game's greatest home run hitters swing for the fences one last time in the house that Ruth built. Tape measure shots will determine the next State Farm Home Run Derby champion tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
So it is almost here. Tomorrow, the State Farm Home Run Derby will be taking place, and the names you will be very familiar with who will be involved in it tomorrow. Chase Utley's got 25, Ryan Braun with 23, Dan Uggla. See the rest with Josh Hamilton at 21, Evan Longoria 16, Justin Marneau at 14. Evan Longoria played in this Futures game last year. Was out in San Francisco. He doubled in the game there, and he is one of 2 players from last year's future games who will be playing in the Major League All-Star game this season. Giovanni Soto, the catcher for the National League from the Cubs, being involved. Longoria, of course, was elected by the fans. He collected 9 million votes, more than doubling that. Was set last year by Chris Young, who had 4.4 million in that final position. Congratulations to Evan Longoria. A delivery here, a chopper by Scott Campbell. Played easily, and Getz makes the play, 1 away to set us on to do the pitching.
From the San Francisco Giants organization, you see the numbers are 7-0 record, an outstanding ERA in his professional career. He is 29-5. Not overpowering stuff. He's never been a top prospect. but he just wins everywhere he goes, and now he's on the radar in here at the All-Star Futures game.
Shea-Swan Lin, who has delivered the big blow of this ball game, a home run, 2 RBIs, first at bat, 7th inning, was the very first pitch he saw, playing in center field, coming off the bench, and that extended what had been a 1-0 lead since the first inning to a 3-0 lead as it currently is. 5 home runs on the season for Lin. This one off the end of the bat. Golson, the left fielder, nobody's going to get to it. They did not communicate on that one, and Lin gets a single, and he's 2 for 2 in the ball game.
Well, that one didn't carry quite as much as the one back in the 7th inning carried, and he got a first pitch fastball that ran inside on the hands. He cleared his hands, kept it inside the foul pole, and a big 2-run homer to stretch the lead to 3-0. So a big at bat for him. Now on base with a single. Remember, a sprint 100-meter champion from Chinese Taipei, so he can absolutely fly. Now he's learning how to steal bases and translate that speed into base running.
19 years old and will be a threat to go. He's playing at low Class A for the Red Sox. Lin is, who's on at first base. Jesus Montero, breaking ball that is a called strike on the outside corner. He had 1 at bat, popped out to the catcher. Montero for the Yankees, playing for the Charleston River Dogs. Power guy. Pitch will be taken up high, and a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
He's a big-time power guy. Yankees gave him a ton of money out of Venezuela. All of the scouts that saw him said this guy's got light tower power.
That's going to be a base hit into right field for Montero. Runner will stop at second. Schuerholz gets it back in. Montero's on with a base hit. This World team has dominated. That is the 9th hit they've had. USA has only 2. They've got the 3-0 lead. They have outpitched, outpowered, outhit so far USA.
Montero smiling there, and you know, a Yankee farmhand getting a base hit at Yankee Stadium. And you know, after batting practice today, all of the New York media really gathered around the young guy, and that can be somewhat intimidating, as nothing really prepares you for that as you go through the minor leagues.
Welcome to New York. Hernandez will take a strike on the outside corner. Dorcas Hernandez has gone the distance in right field. He is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts in the ball game. World team trying to put some more up on the board. That will be taken away. 1-ball, 1-strike count. Hernandez, a .283 hitter, 4 homers and 24 RBIs. Weathers, the last to pitch, struck the side out for USA. Only time that's happened against the World. There's 1, and over to first base, there's 2. Good play by Wes Hodges at third base. No runs and a couple of hits, no errors. 2 are left on base. Cleveland Indians taking a look at Hodges and Laporta. We go to the bottom half of the night.
Nice defense to end that half of the inning right there. Still a 3-0 lead for the World squad, so this will in fact be the last licks for Team USA. At this point, there's been very little offense shown. I mean, I don't know if there's something a little different that Davey Johnson wants to do. He's exhausted all the options as far as power is concerned, Jonathan. So at this point, it just might be got to get a couple runners on base.
Yeah, he's not going to do anything different. He said it's an all-star game. Everyone's going to get a chance to play. I think he's not going to change anything right now. Things fall the right way with Sharon Martis coming in for the World team to try to close things out. So be it. If not, you know, everyone had a good time.
All right, so an opportunity here for Martis to come in for a save chance. Remember, Chase-Swan Lin comes in and he picks up the 2-run home run, so he's in line to potentially be the MVP here at this point. But he comes through with that big home run. Martis comes in. Interesting fact about Martis, had a chance to witness him in the World Baseball Classic throw a no-hitter while he was pitching for the Netherlands. So here's somebody in the Nationals organization that will have something to bring to the table.
And it'll be fun to watch. I mean, there's been so much talk about Team USA and the Olympic team. You know, Sharon Martis is going to the Olympics as well, just not with the United States. He's from Curacao. he's going to play on that Netherlands team. And the way the Netherlands has played in international play, Vinny, lately, they usually upset one of the big guys here or there. So he's a guy you're going to want to watch closely because he might be on the mound facing the United States in Beijing in a few weeks.
All right, so last quickly, an idea of what to grab out of all of this. Well, for Davey Johnson and his staff, maybe not quite sure after all of it. It's a 3-0 lead for the world team over the U.S. We go to the bottom half of the 9th inning of play. Martis will be on the mound. The last opportunity for the U.S. to get onto the board. Back to the broadcast we go.
Our baseball is going to be coming your way. Speaking of New York City, Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, ESPN at 8 o'clock. The other side of town, it's going to be Shea Stadium. Colorado Rockies are in town. The Mets are just a half a game out of first. They've got an 8-game win streak. Coverage begins with baseball tonight, driven by Chevy at 7 Eastern. Mark Redmond 2 and 4. Mike Pelfrey 4. The Mets at 7 and 6 are the scheduled starters. There's a look at Shea. Across LaGuardia Airport and from the Bronx over to Queens, where we are at Yankee Stadium. And we go to the bottom half of the 9th inning as the world will try and put away a win and even up these series games at 5-5. Sharon Martis.
Well, the youngster some may recognize from the World Baseball Classic, pitching for Curacao through a 7-inning no-hit game. There, a guy that changes speeds, moves the ball around, not that overpowering, but just knows how to pitch, good feel for location, and expanding the strike zone.
So Martis on to try and wrap it up. A 3-0 lead, 3-9-0 for the World Future Stars, and an 0-2-1 for USA. Wes Hodges grounded out in his only at-bat, the number 3 hitter. Martis will miss with that one for a ball. 2 singles, Laporta in the 2nd inning. Donald in the 5th, and this one a single, and that's where he'll stay as it ricochets out. Hernandez gets it back in, and it may be a ground rule double. That may have been touched up. It is. So he's going to get down to second base. Hodges will get a leadoff ground rule double there in the 9th.
Does a nice job keeping that ball fair. The ball runs in on his hands, able to keep his hands inside the ball. Hit it down the line. The ball does go out of play as it bounces over that short restraining wall there.
Number 30.
He's on with a double, the first extra base hit USA has had. D'Antonia now up. He is 0 for 3 in the ball game. He's been the designated hitter and gone the distance in the ball game in that capacity. So a chance here, USA trying to rally and win one in the 9th inning. Pacific Coast League numbers. D'Antonia will take it for a strike at 375 with 15 homers and 61 RBIs. Big numbers. Runner off second base, 1-1 delivery. Took a little off that pitch and got it up high, got him to go after it. A 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, D'Antonia in this game has really chased the ball up in the zone, and the swing has a chance to get a little bit long. Has a tough time speeding up and catching up to the ball up.
D'Antonia waiting. Big lead at second. The infield staying spread out here. They'll let that run go at second, and Hodges not let a ball get through, as they'll usually a shortstop, second baseman might move in on the runner, but here they want the out. 2-ball, 2-strike count, and just missed with that one, and it'll go full. 3-2. USA trying to get another on, get that potential tying run to the plate.
We saw Evan Longoria last year, and we see D'Antonia here. The calmness, where you're intense but not tense, and that's the difference between experience and inexperience.
D'Antonia will foul that one back. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Big hitter right here. Both ways in this game. Get him out of there, and it really changes the complexion of things. He gets on, and suddenly USA got a real shot. 3-2 delivery, breaking ball. Popped him up. First base side. Moreland comes on and puts it away and gets the out. Antonio retired.
Martis got away with a hanging slider right there. Very fortunate. D'Antonia's going to be kicking himself because he got a ball up, hanging, and he just got underneath it.
one away. Still a runner on at second base. Bottom of the ninth inning, 3-0 lead for the World team. Their future stars have been dominant in this ball game. Clayton Richard, the starting pitcher for USA, charged with one of the runs that came in the first inning on a fielder's choice. Sherrills pops that one up short. Pena's got it. The wind was blowing that one away to left field, but he'd made the call, and once you do that, you better put it away, and he did.
Now, we've seen not the best handling of pop-ups and pop-up priorities there. Now, that tends to be universal. I mean, those pop-up priorities are universal no matter what organization you're in, no matter what team you're with, no matter what level you're playing at. The outfielder always has priority over the shortstop. We saw the U.S. team struggle with that last inning, and they're not the kind of communication you want it from the World team.
Now Matthew Laporta will come up with 2 down. Runner at second base. He's played at first base throughout the game. 1 for 3 with a single. First round pick we talked about. He'll take the pitch for a strike on the outside corner with the Indians, playing a double-A ball. He led all Division I hitters as a sophomore at Florida with 26 home runs. Big power. Runner off second base, and the 0-1 delivery. Good stop made. Ball kept in front. Montero making sure the runner can't move up, and it will go to 1-1.
We play this game and then look forward to the spring when the World Baseball Classic comes back again. It's a lot of fun to do that the last time around. Japan winning that.
We, of course, enslaved in Puerto Rico. Tough duty.
There were worse places to be, wasn't it? That was pretty fun to do.
So.
I'll tell you what, it was the environment down there was fantastic.
Unbelievable. What a great time. 1-1 delivery. Look at all these world players here. I mean, they will be scattered about in the Classic and in the Olympics, too. They'll be playing for a number of different countries.
Ortiz starred for Curacao, throwing that 7-inning no-hitter last time around, and likely to be on their potential roster again this time around.
Off-speed pitch is going to miss, and the count goes to 3-1. USA not going quietly here. Lynn with a home run in the 7th inning that added the 2, was a 2 RBI homer and made it the 3-0 ball game, and you can see how important that was here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. And that pitch is outside. So USA is going to get the potential tying run to the plate here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. That is the 5th walk surrendered by the 9 world pitchers who have worked in this ball game. And it puts runners on at first and second base with 2 down.
Dexter Fowler.
Dexter Fowler coming up. Fowler's gone the distance in center field. Fowler has had an 0 for 3 in the ball game. The Rockies Double-A Tulsa Drillers outfielder. And he will take a strike on the outside corner.
9 home runs at Double-A for Fowler this year. So the power is there, starting to develop.
Power and speed for the lanky left-hander. And the pitch is taken down low for a ball. Fowler with 45 walks, 72 strikeouts on the season. Looking to keep this ball game alive with 2 down in the bottom of the 9th. And that's going to be outside. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count. So he gets it to a hitter's count.
Now slugging over 500 as well. 24 doubles, 7 triples. Pointing to the speed, 9 home runs. 16 stolen bases. So that unique combination of power and speed.
2-1 pitch grounded to first base. What a stop made. Martinez will take it to the bag and get the out, and that will do it as the world future All-Stars have come away with a 9-pitcher performance shutout, and they get the 3-0 win.
Outstanding effort. We saw some power arms. Pitching prevailed in this game, and have to come away thinking that there's some pretty good pitching coming along as we go. And Team USA going to regroup and try to put together the roster to get ready for the Olympics.
And as we mentioned earlier, with this performance by this Team USA, the decisions here in New York are going to be made tonight with all of the Olympic people on hand as to what that roster is going to look like. So a lot of these young players will be anxiously waiting the phone call that they hope will come that'll put them on for the Olympic team. But congratulations to the World All-Star Futures. They win it 3-0. Back to Yankee Stadium in a bit.
A 3-0 victory for the World Team over Team USA here at Yankee Stadium at the 10th annual Futures game. Along with Jonathan Mayo, I'm Vinny McCucci. Chase-Wan Lin with a 2-run home run out of the Boston Red Sox organization. He did it to give the team a 3-0 lead. It eventually held. The name of this one here, though, pitching on the World side, really holding back a talented offense for the U.S. team. Only 3 hits mustered throughout the game, Jonathan.
Yeah, and really no scoring threats. Right there in the bottom of the 9th, they had a little bit of an opportunity, about as much as they had, and Martis was able to shut things down. And really, the game was about power for the World side. In a lot of ways, you had Lin offensively providing the power, and then Henry Rodriguez just coming in and just throwing absolute smoke, hitting triple digits. Once on the radar, gone upper 90s, the rest of the time striking out the side, and that got some buzz going, at least in the dugouts. It's the kind of thing that we've come to expect here from Futures games.
What did we learn today about Chase-Wan Lin, who comes through with the 2-run home run? Again, he comes at pinch hit appearance. A couple swings later, ball leaves the yard down the left field line. You presume he may get the MVP here, but at the same sense, here's a name that many people won't know much going into the game, but they'll probably know a lot leaving it.
Yeah, and they may then forget about him for a while because he is just playing in the lower levels in the South Atlantic League. He hasn't shown that much power yet. Obviously, he does have it in his stroke, although it's not that difficult to yank one down the left field line here. Has more been a speed guy during his pro career thus far. We didn't see that in this game, but he's developing power. He's developing all-around talent, and the Red Sox just keep seeming to find more and more talent, largely through the draft. And now really extending into the Far East and finding a player like Chase-Wan Lin.
All right, and lastly, Jonathan, your thoughts on how coming into this game, we knew the added caveat was that this team, the U.S. team, was largely going to be comprised of players that would represent the United States in Beijing. They may have been shut out today. There may have only been 3 hits put up on the board. The pitching was a lot better than maybe what we saw out there as well, too. And despite that it is just one game, there are some things positive to draw from this team.
Oh, sure, they got a lot of good pitching. There's still a lot of talent. I mean, I don't think you can take anything really that large from one exhibition game. Sure, if a guy steps up and hits a long home run, you're going to take notice. In the end, though, it's not that these guys were auditioning for the Olympic team. I think they knew what was what, and it's the kind of thing where, you almost put the score aside, and it was fun just to see the collection of talent on the field at the same time.
Absolutely. So the players, as well as everything has been concerned, the MVP is being announced. We'll now throw things out to the scoreboard at Yankee Stadium.
He didn't think too much, just get a good pitch to hit. And apparently he's lucky.
And of course we have to ask him, being part of the Red Sox organization, what was it like hitting a home run here at Yankee Stadium? As we hear the boos, why wouldn't we?
就是身为红袜队小联盟球员，然后在洋基球场打出全垒打，还被全场这样嘘，你有什么感觉？
我也不知道，脑筋一片空白，因为第一次比这种比赛就还蛮紧张的啊，然后就还表现还这么好，所以。
I was so nervous. I didn't think nothing in my mind, so I just tried to do my best. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations. Let's send it upstairs. Gary?
Well, Chase-Wan Lin may very well be a very nice guy, but the hat that he is wearing is not one that the fans here in New York are one that they are rooting for. But congratulations, he ends up winning the MVP award here, John.
And an early introduction into the rivalry that is the Boston Red Sox against the New York Yankees. Cut this guy some break, some slack here. He's playing in Greenville in the South Atlantic League. He doesn't know from this stuff yet.
No, absolutely not. But his 2-run home run ends up being the difference. It's a 3-0 victory for the World squad over Team USA. That means the series is now evened up at 5 games apiece through the 10 series that have been played so far. My thanks goes out to Lisa Winston and all she did down in the U.S. and World dugouts. Great job, Jonathan. Good to see you.
As always, Vinny.
All right, more coming up, including Home Run Derby action coming up tomorrow and the All-Star game from Yankee Stadium on Tuesday. For now, we throw things out to FanFest at the Jacob Javits Center. Casey Stern is standing by with former Major League pitcher Jack McDowell and former General Manager Jim Duquette.